titillate the juices. You know what? Woo! Right now. Woo! Woo!
Dr. Hughes invites followers. Oh, let's see if they increase now. Me too. Yeah, wow. Dr. Hughes.
Mock ass mock.
He's a great podcaster.
Trick ass mock.
Acknowledge me.
We coming for you, nigga. Fat!
Yeah, Dr. Hughes, here we go. Keep plugging yourself, that's clear.
You fucking mark!
First up, a man whose looks will serve your inner needs and desires.
Dr. Hughes.
That's right. Back once again with Reezy and Danny. This is Danny's night pretty much, the Tuesday night, late night TV over in the UK. So shout out to you. Always
Thank you very much.
The government, which I
Don't
love.
misbehave, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep them held to account. No problem.
We are rebels here. How about you, Reezy? Are you frozen?
Am I frozen? Yeah, looks like I'm frozen.
I have
Please.
I have a tech difficulty video coming up with you in it. We got Sasha Raines in the house. It's going to be hilarious. We got all kinds of tech issues. Not only Reezy, myself. I think Danny and me at first. Yep. Lots of laughs. Get out of here and come back. See, I kicked him out. That was my dude. You can't. Nobody ever leaves here. I kick them out. That's how this works, people. Don't get subscribing or anything, everybody. Don't ever subscribe. Don't ever retweet the show. Don't ever share it to any of your friends and like it and hit all the buttons because you're not doing it anyway. And, keep it up. You're doing great work out there, everyone. You lazy bastards. So,
yeah,
we got a lot to
I
talk.
think it's.
Oh, you're back.
Got a lot. I'm back. I think it's gonna stay frozen.
It's another
That's all
pose.
right.
It's a
As long
different
as we can
pose, though.
hear Yeah, it is a nice pose. A GQ-like pose.
Oh
Check
yeah.
this. Did I ever show you this one? That's the I got the symbol in the way. But this is the Rock. Let's fix this up so everybody can see him a little better. Let's make it as big as possible. He has no shoes on. It's like a Tekken character here. Like, what is going on here? Can anybody tell me? No, don't tell me. You know what? I'd rather not know because The Rock, you're looking ridiculous. You were the first guy to come out. I mean, of course, after Triple H. And you said things. You made up with Cody Rhodes, right off the bat. Like, hey, all that shit was fake, right? So you know me. I don't like that at all. That's terrible. It's the shit. Yeah. It's the worst thing in the world when it comes to wrestling. Cut that out. Do that off screen. I'll take it on like my cell phone here, but I got to play you this before I forget. Shit. It already disappeared, but I'm going to find it. In the meantime, what did you guys think about the initial showing of The Rock tonight or last night? Right?
I loved it. I mean, he came out and got one of the biggest pops of the night. I don't think anybody was really expecting him to come out first. I think people was expecting him to come out, but not first. I think when he came out after Triple H, I just think that crowd went crazy. I like the promo. I think he opened the show good, so I didn't have an issue with it.
You, Danny? You a big you a Rock guy?
I used to be. Used to love him to pieces. I've got the first 10 of his films on DVD or however many films I've got. I was a big supporter of his, but he started to believe his own bullshit and he's addicted to the smell of his own farts. And he did what he needed to do to bring people in and to be, hi, I'm the big star, I'm opening up, or after Triple H, whatever. But then he just stuck around too long. And he's trying to make us feel like he's more of a human. He tried telling that story about people, whether or not they could afford tickets for wrestling shows. And he was like, oh, this is quite a nice, sweet little story. But then as soon as he got the chance, it was just like, oh, yeah, the entertainment industry. And he just pretty much touching himself and dancing for his LA friends. And it was just like, yeah, there's your colours. That's what you really care about. There's all that in real life stuff with is now the tribal chief, and it's just like nobody. If you cared so much about that pretend belt that you gave yourself, and that's the title that's important to you, and you've been parading around with it, why should I give a shit about what any other title anybody else gives you? It's just it could be made up.
It was given to him. They reinforced it last night. He was given that belt from Muhammad Ali's widow, I believe, or daughter. I think it was the widow, though. I think that's if I heard correctly. But I think that's how they're curtailing that in a way. Like they're like, well, it was given to by the greatest, right? The greatest widow.
I think the belt is more of a fashion. I mean, it's not meant to be defended or anything. It's more of a fashion for him, something that he comes out with to make himself feel good about himself. It's like jewelry, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's
So,
not only for himself. I think it's for the crowd and the audience.
Yes, that
to be
too.
like,
That too.
I'm not going to hold a championship because, of course, I got things going on backstage. I'm not like a full-time wrestler, but I'm just going to show to you. And this is the ego part you're talking about. I'm sure their reasoning is, hey, we're doing this to relay to the people out here that The Rock is super top guy. But check
Definitely.
this remember I was bitching about he stole my Mama Rain's bit basically from Sasha Reigns, who's here in the house. Her mama, The Rock stole this from you too, by the way. The whole WWE, because they steal from the show all the time. They always did back in the day. Now I'm back. Now they're going to start stealing again. It's happening, folks. Listen to this. I found proof. He said Mama Reigns because that's where the bit comes from. Listen up, everybody on SoundCloud and Apple Podcast.
Universal Championship, it's going to be this belt here, Mama Reigns.
You hear that? That was Mama Reigns that he said. I got to play. You know how radio guys do it. You got to play it back twice.
Universal Championship, it's going to be this belt here, Mama Reigns.
Mama Reigns. He was going to give you a belt, Mama Reigns, if you're watching at home right now? Really? Okay. So, proof. I'm not just saying that they're doing this. They're doing it. They love us. Everybody should put us over the same way WWE does. Every time I go to their shows, they put me front and center on their TV screens, just like all your favorites, like Macaulay Culkin, who was there last night. In my opinion, allegedly, YouTube's terms and service in a boxing ring. Not only would I fight him, but somebody needs to be checking this guy's PC out, if you know what I'm saying. He just doesn't look right to Dr. Huge ever. And so I'm telling you, watch, come back to this in like 5 years or something, and I'll be right, because I'm right about everything and all this stuff. I'm always dead on. When I see people, I'm like, Logan Paul, scumbag. I knew it like as soon as I seen the guy. Yeah, I don't have to know these people necessarily if they've been in and around my life for a while. I get it. I understand what you're trying to do, Macaulay. And this is like the AEW people I speak about. Some of them, they feel like Macaulay Culkins to me. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Am I being just too harsh?
Oh no. I wrote a joke down when I was reviewing it. Well, I like the fact that Michael Cole referred to Seth Green and Macaulay Culkin as massive WWE fans. And it's like they're tiny men. They are the smallest blokes you could probably find in that building. There's quite a lot of children that are probably bigger than them. And yeah, Hollywood keeps people like that around. I'll say that. I get what you're saying.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying too. I want to comment on this and say, I am aware that Macaulay Culkin and Seth Green are big wrestling fans, but to announce them as massive fans, and the way they announced them, like everybody, like these guys come to shows often. Last time I remember ever seeing Macaulay Culkin at a wrestling event, I don't think I remember. I know he's been to some, I'm sure, but I don't remember seeing him actually. I mean, it's just the way they introduced them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just what it was.
I'm telling you,
I acknowledge them.
I understand. I do like similar. I'm into wrestling and all this stuff too.
Mhm.
And I'm a little jelly that they're made of and they're like sitting front row and getting all these spots. And yet they don't really care about like wrestling at all or the WWE in itself.
Right.
It's more of a money grab. And this is going to continue to happen and more than ever. So keep putting me on when I go on their WWE. Push me up to the front row. Like hook a brother up. Do something. I know you got pull all around there. People who are watching all the time.
I mean,
Yeah.
Seth Green, if I'm not mistaken, Seth Green did something backstage for WWE once upon a time, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it?
And I do.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Was it Eat a Baby? Possibly.
That's funny. I don't know. I do believe he did something backstage for WWE once upon a time, and I know Macaulay Culkin tweets about pro wrestling. But other than that, like I said, the way they introduce these guys, I totally understand why people feel that way. But again, WWE is going to big up any celebrities that they think are cool with
Especially
that.
millennial celebrities at this point. It feels like,
Yeah.
you know.
Just especially any of them that'll go and sit in the audience and get on camera. They really don't care. They're happy to just push their own talent out of the way to be like, oh yeah, fuck these guys. We've got Hollywood people here. Look at them. Look at them. Don't worry about these stupid carny bastards in the ring. You don't need them. Just look. You've got the guy that was the Arrow or whatever his chuffing name was. And
I get it though. You know what they're doing? They're trying to relate. Again, this is all about messaging, right? And you're subliminally always hammering home points. And you have to make sense. So it makes sense to have the millennial superstars and people that may be known in the music and the this and the that. And to all these casual fans that are now watching, because a bunch of people have Netflix and they're checking it out just because it's a new thing. Oh, a live event that's going to occur every week or whatever. Oh, I remember wrestling. So a bunch of newcomers came last night, which means a whole bunch of newcomers, new grifters are going to be coming and making it harder for me. And I'm better than them. You know what I mean? Like, just because they're famous or have some sort of celebrity doesn't mean that they're more entertaining than Dr. Huge in the show. Like, go fuck yourself.
I mean, totally agree. I mean, Macaulay Culkin, now I will say this. Here's what I'll say good about Macaulay Culkin. It was pretty cool to see him because I haven't seen him specifically on TV. Other than American Horror Story, I have not seen him on TV in a long time. So it's kind of a childhood flashback, like, oh, cool, that's Macaulay Culkin in the crowd. So I mean, it's cool that they came to the show. I mean, they didn't have to come to the show. So
I kind of don't want him there. McAfee, yeah, it's true.
You don't like McAfee, I forgot.
He's the biggest grifter of them all, like as far as like a guy that's just comes out of nowhere and then gets into the bit like, I like it. Oh, I got better and bigger things I can do now. I'm going to go to college football. I'm going to go doing this. Oh, I'll be here and there. I'll be at all the big events though, because I'm a punter. He fucking punts a ball and I'm supposed to be impressed by this guy. Like, get out of here. He's not even good at it. Don't even have me in his place. Have anybody else. Put somebody else there, and I'll be happy. Okay. Sorry.
I'm confused, man. I've got written down in my notes here. Doc loves Pat McAfee.
You do?
I don't know. Apparently so. Yeah, that's what I wrote down as soon as Pat McAfee was there.
I don't know what show you've been watching, unless I've been saying it sarcastically.
I mean, the crowd. I will listen, man. The crowd loves that guy. I mean, that guy gets out his seat, starts jumping up and down on them tables and dancing like a maniac. I mean, those fans lose it.
It's so fake. It's so over the top, phony. Booker T does the same gimmick, but I like it when Booker T does it because he's amped himself
quack.
So much. Like for tonight's NXT, he'll be on there, I'm sure. He's going to be super animated. He doesn't dance on tables and stuff, but you know, it's all vocal because he's an announcer, right? He's not trying to make every time somebody comes out, oh, this is about me now. You know what I mean? This is because he doesn't understand the fundamentals of wrestling. I don't care if he wrestled Adam Cole. Adam Cole stinks and he's yellow and he's little. You know, this Pat McAfee guy though, He's got that raspy voice. Sounds like somebody's been choking him backstage for like hours before he comes on. He's got a 1,000,000-pound head. Get out of my life, Pat McAfee.
You really hate Pat McAfee.
Send it to him right now, everybody.
You really hate Pat McAfee.
I don't hate him. I hate him on my WWE that I watch 1,000 hours of a week. You know, so he's like, and not only that, like I said, he's in the best Saturday night main event. Oh, Pat McAfee. Oh, now he's doing the first Raw. Pat McAfee's back. WrestleMania. Oh, and that's what I'm saying. Everybody does like him, but it doesn't mean he's good.
How does Danny feel about Pat McAfee?
I thought he was endearing at first. When he initially turned up and he was sort of like, hi, I'm new. I'm going to pretend like I've not seen some of these things before, and I'm going to act like I'm amazed when things happen for the first time. I thought that was, it was endearing at first, and Michael Cole took him under his wing, and it helps refresh Cole. Cole had just got really, well, maybe a bit of that too, but Cole was really stale, and he's been hated by people for a while, and now people love Michael Cole, and they've like forgiven him for being like the drizzling shits for 20 years or however long it's been. So I do appreciate McAfee for McAfee. Yeah, I always forget to pronounce his name, McAfee. It doesn't matter, Pat. Noisy Pat. But now it's got a bit old. It's that gimmick of just like, I'm going to be really loud and like, oh my god, that was amazing, and I've never seen this before. But yeah, he's good. He's good as like getting the crowd worked up. If like off camera during the commercials, you need someone to like start psyching the crowd up. He's the man. He can do that really well. But
he eats.
Yeah. I've heard people say exactly what you two were saying. I've heard people. It's been mixed reviews. I heard people say that. My personal opinion about Pat McAfee is that it goes both ways for me. That, but also at the same time, he brings money. The crowd loves him, and I think he's a better commentator than some of the past guys they've had. Because WWE has changed up commentators a lot over the years, and some of them have been very bad. So,
and the thing is, he's out there a lot. You know, like I don't like Logan Paul. I like Logan Paul less than Pat McAfee. How about that, Pat? I really don't like him. I'm kind of goofing around when I don't like you, even though I don't. But I would rather, I guess, if I had to keep Logan Paul around wrestling, I'm asking myself this question right now, or continue to have Pat McAfee as an announcer most of the time. God, that's fucking tough. Man, that's actually tough. Maybe still Logan not wrestling. I think I would keep Pat over Logan at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't hate him that
Paul's
bad.
got such a slappable face. Logan Paul's got such a.
How do you feel about Corey Graves then?
Corey Graves? Corey Graves is great.
Yeah, I like Corey.
I like Corey too.
You know who's super underrated and who should have never left the company in the first place? Tom Phillips.
Yeah.
Fuckface Phillips. Remember that little deal?
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to do that to people's faces, apparently, and it got out there. It wasn't quite a page leak. It got swept under the rug pretty quickly, but still, he was one of the best.
You know who I think is going to make a legendary commentator one day when he retires as a wrestler?
Dr. Huge? No, you weren't talking about me. See what I'm saying, Danny?
See right there.
I
think the Miz will make a great commentator. Maybe it's just me. I think when he retires, he'd make a great commentator. I think that's going to be what he'll probably do when he retires.
Yep. You are dead on with that one. Grayson Waller's another one. I could see Seth Rollins doing it. He seems like a guy that will never go away.
Yeah. I could see him wrestling.
Like from the business, like even if his body's banged up, he's going to still want to be around it like a Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I think we talked enough about all these grifters out here. And I pointed them out. Huh?
Oh no, finish. I wasn't gonna say anything.
I'm just gonna say some more names. I'm name dropping. Kay Adams, I remember you from the Patriot days covering my team, and then you blew up because you're short and you're cute and you know about football, and then you got picked up by the NFL Network. You're one of the big timers there, and now you're encroaching on my space. See how I'm using football terms, everybody? You're encroaching. I'm throwing penalty flags. I see what you're doing. It's on Netflix now. It's on the whole world's radar, and it's going to blow up like never before. And you're trying to get some of that scratch. Guess what? I've already been here, and I'm going to get it all from me and my people. That's what we're doing over here, okay? And you can come on anytime you want. I know I've probably been drowned out on X from everybody tweeting you about wrestling because you're like, what's The Undertaker? And who's this? And who's that? I already know all this stuff. Way ahead of you. I mean, I know children that know more about this. Nobody needs to know that you're even involved with this. Thank you. Good day. I said good day. All right. So that's
just to add to that, I do think you're right about bringing grifters in. It's not going to bring as many fans in as they want, because to start with, Triple H was just doing that intro where he was like just saying all the marquee words and pulling the curtain back and just like, so yeah, before you got invested in this, before you've even sat down and bought into any of it, I'm going to tell you it's all bullshit. So before you've got invested in a person or an idea or a storyline, I'm already going to pull the rug from under your feet and just spoil that. And then by the end of the show, because there's so much self-congratulations and just like, look how great we are, any new people that have stuck around would have been like, Christ, these guys are good at congratulating themselves and patting themselves on the back. Is this what I've turned up for? That's how I saw it. And I just thought, yes, that show was terrible. Just the format of it and just the overall message and the attempt to just chase that casual fan that Vince would always chase. And he would always intentionally push the diehard fans out of the way to pander for this mythical beast that doesn't exist.
I'll give him a mulligan.
Cater to the diehards. And it was 3 hours. 3 hours
right.
Again. Fucking hell. I was not expecting 3 hours again.
That show was 3 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep, went pretty much to almost, it was pushing 11 here, so yeah. Yep. Oh, look, he's back for a second. Everybody gets a glimpse. A glimpse in
Everybody gets a glimpse. But I personally, I like the show. Now, I do feel like I wish you could have had more, man.
Hold on 1 second, Reezy. I'm going to kick you out.
Go ahead.
Is it I'm checking your sound. It sounds like a demon's in there with you. Give it a shot. Uh-oh, he's not.
You hear me?
Here we go.
It's a little better.
Yeah.
It's better? Okay.
No, the demon's still there.
It's still there?
Yeah, try backing out and come back. Yeah, because it was always there, but now it's just getting worse.
I wasn't sure if it was my headphones or not, but no, it wasn't.
No. It's definitely like 99% of the time it's going to be Reezy. So what else we got here? And you know what's funny about me talking about all these grifter people? I had not a whole lot of people or anything like that. Only one person has ever called me like, oh, you're a parasite in wrestling and this and that. And it's because I got into a back and forth with this referee. I forget his name. I know I've seen him before, and he was doing some podcast that was supposedly, I'm doing a real podcast as this ain't a real podcast, bro. I have more fans than you do. So, okay, if you like to do that. He was like the fifth man on a panel, and he was this old referee that was in my neck of the woods, New England. He was in the Hall of Fame, apparently. And I knew this. I knew because I'm right down the street from all this stuff. And, we were just fighting back and forth online. What was it? Oh, that's right. He was fighting with DJ Storms, if that's a throwback name. One of my early whack packers. Loved wrestling, but he was a maniac. And he was, I think he was a teenager. So he starts fighting with this teenager. I stick up for Johnny Rockets or whatever his name is. And, he comes at me, telling me all his credentials, and he's like, Dr. Huge, you're a parasite. Sure I am. I brought more eyes to WWE at a time when nobody gave a shit. And I would hear that all the time from people. I'm still hearing it to this day. They just started watching again on Netflix. They're like, hey, I'm going to tune into the show and, talk with you. They would just come to hang with us more than, care about wrestling. Many of these people. So you're welcome, pro wrestling world and WWE and all that. I know they recognized it, but there's some dumb fucks out here that don't understand, again, how this operates. Yep. So I'm pumping myself up. We may never see Reezy again. Oh, no, he's right there. Let's bring him back in after my rant. Look at him.
Back in.
Great.
I'm back in.
Sounding great, looking great. I'm telling you, these apps or whatever you're using, they must be the shits.
I don't know, man. I don't usually have this problem.
No,
That's
you
the
don't.
crazy part.
I've never
I don't
seen
usually
that
have
before.
it. Yeah, but who called you a parasite, man?
I forget his name. He was an old ref. I was acting. This is the thing. I started trolling him because he's like, "Well, you don't know who I am, then you definitely don't know anything about wrestling." I knew who he was, but I was saying I didn't know who he was because I knew it would get under his skin, and it totally did. And I'm like, dude, you're fighting with a teenager. He's the guy I'm fighting with. Okay, like, leave it to me, bro. Okay, I got this under control. I know how to deal with these children. You're just out here, making him look like a total freak jerk asshole, which, I mean, at this point, now that he's older, he's doing it himself. But, we don't need some old guy out here pointing out that something we already know, right? And then
Right. Sounds like he's a little sensitive.
he thought he was so much better than Dr. Huge. Just like Brooklyn Brawler. How did that work out, Brooklyn?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I used to have that guy in my spaces a lot, and that guy is a character, man. I don't know.
I don't hate Brawler at all.
I don't hate the guy. It's just, the guy can sometimes, I can't think of the word, but
It leads me to this. Do you hate this
oh
guy?
yeah, I hate that guy.
You do?
That I do. Now that guy, I would love to give a leg drop to.
Wow. Would you?
Then an elbow drop.
So you would boo him if you were there?
I would boo him out the arena. Actually, I wouldn't mind giving him his last match. I love to kick his ass.
Yeah, you got beef with me, brother. You want to take
Plus,
me?
I got to do it for Iron Sheik. It's all I got to do it for Iron Sheik. Like Iron Sheik said, fuck the Hulk.
You know what about the Hulk Hogan being booed last night? It did make me sad. And I understand why he's being booed. I get it. Plus, it's a little over the top. Like, it's like people are still typing boo. It's the cool thing to do, right? It's been the cool thing to do.
Well,
why do you think I goof on him, but at the same time promote him as one of my favorites? You see what I'm saying? It's there's gray area in this, just like there is with everything in life, kids. So has he said the N-word? Sure, we caught it on tape. Guess what? I bet 90% of some of your favorites of whatever you think have probably said that word. You know what are you gonna do about it? What does it matter?
Yeah. And there's a lot of races. A lot of our favorite wrestlers that we grew up watching today are racist behind closed doors. The difference is Hogan just happened to get caught on camera. His thing with Hogan is that first thing, I want to put something out there for his people on social media. Hogan wasn't booed because of his politics. It had nothing to do with that.
I'm sure
it had a lot to do.
A little.
It had a lot. No, because then they would have booed Undertaker, though. You think? Because they cheered the hell out of Undertaker.
It's cool to boo Hulk Hogan, though. It's not cool to boo the Undertaker, even with the politics. But the politics does have a part in it. You can't be at the Trump, idiocracy rally there that they had with Kid Rock and all that shit, and be like, Trump, and tearing the shirts, and then think you're gonna go to L.A. of all places, like Douchebag Island, and think you're going to be over there. You're
You
not.
know,
It's just not
I
happening.
think what really hurt Hogan though was that he's already been older professional wrestlers has already accused him of that before it happened, and Hogan has put a bad taste in fans' mouth many times before that. So to a lot of fans, it's more like, well, how many times you're gonna say sorry?
Yeah.
Not that he has to say sorry. Wait, not that he has to say sorry because he is a grown ass man, but as a celebrity that people looked up to, they expected Hogan to be something different than what he really was. And when Hogan made his mistakes and he did things that fans seen and made them uncomfortable, he didn't technically come out and apologize for it. He didn't come out and kind of make up for it. And
Yeah.
I feel like that would have helped him out a little bit if he showed up on a WWE program or something, or did something to the pub, just did something to at least explain himself and apologize. But see, Hogan never did that.
Yeah,
And
he
he
doesn't give a
continued,
shit.
yeah, yeah. And he continued to do stuff, kind of
And
like
the
his
thing is,
beard thing.
like younger people, like I'm one of the younger Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan fans. Like I seen him from. That's why it made me feel sad, even though I wasn't
Right,
feeling sad for Hogan. It was almost like I just
right.
felt this, like oh my god, like this is where we are now. Now that I'm older,
Yeah,
is like the biggest guy, in the world when I was a kid is now like the shits. And like I said, I get it. And it's definitely like 80-20, the racist political stuff. The political stuff just definitely doesn't help. And definitely, like I'm telling you, because if he was in, say, Texas or Florida or whatever, the reaction would be maybe not drastically different, but it'd be definitely different. Yeah, that's,
yeah.
and
I mean, no,
what do you
you're
think?
100%
What are you
right.
thinking about this Hulk Hogan being booed last night, Danny?
I don't disagree with anything either of you have just said, but I think a lot of it was because it's just cool to boo him. You go back and listen to it, and as soon as you heard dun dun dun, people popped, people cheered, and then after they sort of like realised that they just let themselves
It
get
just
caught
feels
up
like
in
a
it,
work. Yep.
they dialed it down. But I completely agree why someone would boo. He came out hiding behind Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart had the American flag, who then at one point, Hart literally was hiding behind it while Hogan was getting booed.
Yeah, it was.
Hogan strutted out, hiding behind little old Jimmy Hart, who always just ends up getting so much shit. Hogan didn't even have like a USA t-shirt or a wrestling t-shirt. It was just immediately, here's my new product. I'm coming out with my new product. And I think people just saw that instantly. Undertaker didn't have that.
Yeah.
Undertaker had his usual gimmick, being a wrestler. Whereas there was 6 different fucking companies advertising on the canvas in the ring last night. There was adverts just on everything. And people just saw a walking advert coming out, and it's like, hey, it's quite funny to boo this guy. Let's give him some shit. And like I say, you listen to that pop again. They popped. They did the same with The Rock. As soon as they heard The Rock's music, a lot more people got excited, and then it sort of like tapered off once he like outstayed his welcome.
Wait. And they're like,
Yeah.
this isn't Terry Bollea 8-inch penis. This is supposed to be Hulk Hogan 12-inch penis. And we all know that's a work because we found out in in court.
Oh, yeah.
Literally. 12-inch,
But,
that's a drastic difference in penis right there.
Yeah. What did you expect in California? It's just, yeah. What did you expect?
But
That
I
person
also
doing that shtick and advertising just so blatantly was just, yeah, that was daft.
and I totally see why it's so funny. Like I said, it's such a sad situation that the WWE can't have. In my opinion, he's bigger than everybody. If he wasn't there to do what he did, whether it's silly or not, in that day and age, do you really get all the rest of the stuff? You might not get it. You might get something way different and more like WCW style stuff. I don't know, but like he set the tone so high with the pay-per-view age and all that in the 80s going into the 90s. It's just like, wow, man, don't ever screw other radio guys' wives. All right. That's
No, don't ever do that.
that was the beginning of the end for this guy. He screwed Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, who was involved in TNA, by the way, if people don't know that, a Florida radio host. The only reason
Who was his wife in TNA?
His wife was just some hot chick, even though he was a big fat guy.
Okay.
But he had a radio show, and Hogan used him as like a mouthpiece to, like, you know, talk good about his kids or whatever, and try to get them over, or to dunk on his ex-wife there. So Bubba was like that guy, but Bubba liked wrestling and was involved with TNA. And one of the greatest stories from the Stern days, that's the only reason I know about Bubba the Love Sponge, is through Howard Stern had him on his channels back in the day. But he went to TNA and supposedly had all these free tickets for his fans. They showed up, there was no tickets for him, and people in the crowd were spitting on him. Because he's not like the greatest guy in the world either. But him and Hogan became like best friends, right? This is how I know all this Hogan stuff. It's not even because of the wrestling angle. It's more because I knew about Bubba the Love Sponge, and then it blew up into a whole thing on the radio. And Hulk Hogan was filmed having sex with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, and it was Bubba's cameras. And I don't know if people have actually seen the videos, but the way it was set up, it looked like it was like horizontal. It was coming right at you, or right at the bed, rather. And it looked as if somebody had placed something there to catch him. And this is a guy that had cameras all over his house for whatever reason back in the day. And do I believe that the Hulkster didn't know about it? Yeah, because it wasn't really a big sex, whatever they call them, sex video. It was just a Hogan under the sheets having sex with another guy's wife, and it was a little weird. We got to find out that Hulk Hogan much smaller than what he say, you know, in a court of law. So now he gets booed because after he had sex with this chick, right? He goes into this whole rant. He's got the pillow talk going. Oh yeah, my daughter, she's dating this black guy, and he's N, and this and that, and you know me. You know us Florida people. We don't like that. Especially with my blonde daughter, right? So ever since, it's been rough sailing for the Hulkster. You like that story, bro? That's my bedtime story. I usually...
That's very interesting because I don't know much about Bubba the Love Sponge. I've heard his name, and I've only heard negative stuff about him. So, I mean, all this is news to my ears.
Yep.
So, I mean, that was a history lesson for me.
Bubba stinks. Yeah.
I've never heard his show before. I don't even know what the guy looks like.
Turd. Yeah. That's kind of what he sounds like. And he got so fat at one point. Here's another Bubba fact that I know. Like I said, I might as well use this knowledge for something. And I'm informing everybody else of who the man is that allowed himself to get cuckolded by Hulk Hogan. And Bubba the Love Sponge got so fat at one point in his life, he couldn't wipe his own ass, bro. That's crazy.
He's fat.
A little louder, Steiner.
He's fat.
Thank you. Yep, he had his girlfriend or wife at the time towel his ass. Fact.
I remember Braun Strowman saying something similar when he first joined the WWE, but with his arms were so big, I think it was he couldn't go from behind. Oh, he could only wipe from one direction, and it's like, why would you tell someone on the internet that?
Wow.
He said that either on Twitter or an interview or something. But I remember reading it and being like, why would you get that big? I understand wanting to get beastie. I go to the gym. It's good to work out, but to get to the point where you can't wipe your ass properly because your arms are that bulky, it's like, yeah, you've maybe gone a bit too far now.
Do you think that's where the band One Direction got their name? They could only wipe in one direction.
I thought it was their audition.
They couldn't. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Reezy, you still with us? You dead?
I'm with you.
Oh, I thought you was dead.
Dozed off.
I fixed it.
Nice. Yep, we're killing it right now. So much to talk about. I know we're going all over the place, but it's making a whole lot of sense to me, all this talk. This is some expert analyst business.
So let's talk about this match card for Netflix. Was there
Well, the first
any
one
match?
is
The
Reigns.
first one,
The Reigns and Solo in the tribal
I was
something or other.
Tribal combat, and I would say I was very surprised. I was very surprised that kicked off the show. That threw me off.
It threw me
I didn't know
off
that
a
was.
little bit.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a main
yeah.
event.
Yep.
It was a good match. I wasn't. It didn't go the way I expected, but I'm not mad at the decision.
Yep.
My only question is now, since Roman won, is Solo going to do what he said he was going to do? Acknowledge Roman, and if he does acknowledge Roman, are we just going to do kind of like what we talked about in the past, a big giant stable with the whole bloodline together?
I already talked about this. Remember? We put this
Yeah,
together Saturday.
yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. You said this, and that's what it's looking like is going to happen. Because to me, it makes no sense to continue a Roman and Solo feud. It doesn't make any sense to do that, especially after the promo Solo cut before the match. If Solo didn't cut that promo to Paul before the match, then okay. But right now, you might as well put them, like you said, back together.
Yep. And one more thing, Reezy, come out, go out, come back again. The burping's back. And this time, just speak on a lower tone and the burping won't appear, I believe. I think I got it.
Okay. Speak on a lower tone. I'll do that. It could be my earpods too.
So when you go out, you come back. As soon as it starts to amp up and I see it starts to peak on here, then the burping starts.
Let me try this before I leave, but I'm going to take my
All right.
earpods out.
I don't know if you guys are going to be here for a little bit afterwards or after 8 o'clock. We may push this a little late because we got people coming up and showing up. So definitely retweet this and share this everywhere. And you can drop out whenever you want, Danny. You don't have to stay, but
No, I'm good.
I may go extra innings tonight.
That's fine. Well, 3 hours of Raw. I said on Saturday that I always write too many notes. I always make too many notes.
Yeah.
I did 3 pages. I've done like a page in
3
half an hour. So I've started writing something for my website just as like a special attraction. Just instead of like the pay-per-view write-ups, I've just done a Netflix debut write-up, and that'll be on the DannyDamage.co.uk tomorrow. But I just
Where is it? Tell us one more time because it was very quick.
DannyDamage.co.uk.
There you go. Go check it out, everybody.
See it there and put .co.uk on the end. But yeah, that'll be done in the morning, I think. But there were so many notes that I made, and there was so much shit for me to point out, and I was like, I can't just come on your show and just take like 4 hours of just me reading all this shit and hijacking. So
no,
yeah.
Definitely. If anybody's got anything to say, I know I speak a lot, but I would like this to be more of a conversation between us, the chat, and everything else. It's almost like we're all talking on the phone. And that always ends up being for a better show. To have it, me go through just notes sometimes like we did at the beginning, but I knew that was going to happen because you got to go through notes at the beginning and you got to have some kind of a foundation, something to work off of. But the way we're doing it now is pretty free flowing. You can jump in, jump out. Other people can jump in possibly at times. It's who knows what's going to happen. One day we'll start having wrestlers popping in and out because I'll be sending out links and they might just show up. Yep. Reezy's sounding great.
That sound great.
So no burping, no demon is there. We have exorcised the demons.
Sounds like these AirPods was the demons.
Yeah. All this technology. Yep. So the Roman Reigns thing happened. My thing is, when I'm watching it, it was the first match. And as soon as I saw it was the first match, I thought to myself, well, this isn't going to be major. I don't think anything major is coming. And nothing major happened. Roman became the OTC again, which I think is going the safe path. I thought that they might go the rough path. And I would have, if I were to write the show, give Paul Heyman over to Solo, keep the bloodline separate. The Rock is a prick. There was some kind of conspiracy going on, but Paul Heyman wasn't necessarily a part of it. They didn't do any of that. They basically just reset with Roman Reigns back as the tribal chief. Heyman's in his place. The Rock comes out, anoints him again, pretty much. Hey, here you go. You're the man. He makes up a Cody Rhodes, like I said earlier. And it was just very odd. It seemed like a hard reset for Netflix.
Or for WrestleMania to have Rock and Roman like they were meant to do last year. So it's maybe just their way of getting to last year's match, but this year.
Yeah.
That's how I interpreted it. But putting that match on first was their way of, I think, we've got this new audience who might just tune in for the first however long. So what we'll do is rather than giving them Seth and Punk, we'll give them what was essentially like a little mini version of the Roman and Cody WrestleMania match, where it's like, yeah, you see some wrestling, some in-ring storytelling with the wrestling, but then you see interference from him, and then this other feud comes in and they neutralize themselves, and then you see the finish, and then you see The Rock come in and make himself a part of yet another moment.
Yeah.
Because he likes to do that.
I'm sure it was good to, these newcomers and whatnot, but to us, it was very bland. It was, like I said, you had two paths pretty much, or we got swerved, and we didn't get a swerve. We didn't get the second path. We just got the full on. All right, here you go. This is how it's done. Same thing. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, them finishing up the story. Hopefully, Dominic Mysterio in the ring. Now, did Dominic Mysterio not try to get back with Rhea Ripley because he was scared of her and didn't want to get beat up, or was it because she did have the title again? And now, if that's the case, does Liv have a problem with this? Leave the Judgment Day? I'm confused because people are telling me two different things online.
Dom looked like he was going to sneak attack her, I thought, and then she turned around and saw him. I think he was like, I'm going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So maybe he was like, oh, no, I love you now. But I don't know. It's all very weird.
Yeah, he just got caught being a little weasel bastard, so I think he just tried to go with it.
So he's still going to be with Liv, you're saying?
I reckon so, yeah.
Thought I had a chance there for a minute. As soon as she gets away from him, Liv Morgan is all mine, you see. Except for and I'm going to tell her, no more of this face. No more of this.
But it's like the only one she knows, mate. It's that and blow-up doll. She needs that 1990s plastic blow-up doll face. And then
I feel like she needs the title, though. So Rhea Ripley has a title. The Undertaker puts her over super mega huge, even though it didn't. The only sense that I could make of it is Rhea Ripley has a lot of tattoos and a lot of piercings. Biker chick. Right? Was that the main? Yeah. Like with the dudes, it's a little different. Like Roman Reigns, it's like a top guy thing. Bray Wyatt, it's like, oh, it's a horror thing. I'm putting you over. Rhea Ripley, it's like, well, you're the biker chick. I'm the American badass. You're the female badass, I guess.
I think it was for Priest because Taker came and gave Rhea the rub, and then next time you saw Rhea, she was backstage, and Priest, who had done nothing all night, was just there, like just absorbing some of that aura.
That's right. He is the new Undertaker, technically.
They keep. I tell you, mate. I know you like him. I know you like him a lot, but they want to push him a lot harder than he's been ready for a long time.
Yeah,
but they keep giving him these spots.
Some good matches. He had. How about the match with the Puerto Rican rapper? He got through a match with a Puerto Rican rapper that doesn't wrestle, and it was like good.
It wasn't terrible. I'll say. I won't say it was good, but it wasn't terrible. I was expecting a lot worse.
What do you think about that match, Reezy? You remember that one?
Which match was this? Go back.
What's his name? Priest. Bad Bunny. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do remember Bad Bunny. WWE. Yeah. Yep. I remember him.
Bad Bunny. I remember the first time I heard that name, I thought it was the Catch Me Outside girl.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna say Bad Bunny wasn't over with the crowd, but my whole thing with that was they were pushing Bad Bunny over a lot of talent who was sitting at home doing nothing, who really deserved that more. And Bad Bunny wasn't there for the stay. He was only there for the paycheck and a quick pop and to get some stuff for his music career and go home.
Yeah.
But he learned. But he wasn't a bad wrestler now. Bad
No.
Bunny.
And he was over, and it's because they were in Puerto
He was
Rico.
over.
So there
Yeah,
was
I said
him.
that. He was over.
There was Priest, and there was Zelina Vega, and they really, really pushed Vega. That, and I wouldn't push Zelina Vega for in-ring stuff at all. On the outside, when she was a manager, she was brilliant, but it's just sadly one of those cases where, well, it's not a Vince thing now, but Vince used to just get a bit of a bee in his bonnet sometimes and really want to get managers in the ring, and it's like, why? They would fine where they were, you idiot. Just let them do that. They're great. But yeah, so I agree with Reezy there with people getting pushed, because it wasn't just Bad Bunny, but because he's a non-wrestler, it just seemed a bit daft that he got such a big spotlight on him. I think they main event.
They made money off of him with merch and everything. I don't blame them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge match. I don't know if it main evented, but it was like one of the bigger matches of. He was in the video game even.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They also put Machine Gun Kelly in the video game, I think, which is crazy. And Post Malone never even stepped in a ring, and he's in a DLC. Oh.
That's one thing I want to change about wrestling games is stop putting people in it that doesn't work for the company.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. And how about this? Don't make DLCs anymore.
No.
More people would buy the game. I would buy it every single year. If not only did you have, say, 1,000 different wrestlers on there, I don't care how big the game is going to be. All these games are friggin' obnoxiously large now for my PC. But make it so you have 1,000 wrestlers, and you can always get more. But do you really need more than 1,000? But just do that, and everybody will buy it. You'll get so many more sales than trying to sell this game than trying to sell. They're just so greedy. They're trying to nickel and dime it and trying to trick everybody. You don't need to trick people. Give them what they want. You could literally have a list and go, here's this, all the 50s wrestlers, 60s wrestlers, spend a year and just have your development team make every single wrestler that's ever been alive. I mean, within reason. That's in the old WWFs or the new WWEs, WCW, so on and so forth. And I'm telling you, they will sell like hotcakes every single year. Because if you just update things here and there with it, that's all people want. Update the games, make sure they work. Fucking gaming is so bad these days. You guys play games at all?
Yeah, man. I got a PS5. I haven't touched my PS5 in a long time, but
yeah.
I
have massive breaks here and there, and then I'll get into a game, and then I
just don't have the comfortability to play my game because, like, it's just the area where my game. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. You gotta have.
I just need to get me a man cave or something.
Like this.
I need to give me a man cave or something. But yeah, I game, man. I just think back to these wrestling games. I just think there's just too much stuff in the game that doesn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
The rosters are way too big.
Yeah, you think they're too big?
I think the rosters are way too big. We don't need that many people in the game.
Thousands. I want them all.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have like any match I want. Earthquake versus Bronson Reed. I got it. You know what I mean? You name it. And then it's all done for me. I don't have to go download something else.
I think they should bring back Legends of Wrestling. Just do a Legends of Wrestling game.
Wasn't that hated?
Oh yeah, it was hated. I think they'll do a better job now. But it was hated back in the day because the controls was weird.
Yeah.
It was hard to play the game, but yeah.
Intentionally trying not to control like SmackDown or whichever other WWE one was out. I think that's what it was. They were trying not to have the same controls as the WWE one. So it was like, right, so now you're just going to do like a handstand and play with your nose just so we're not the same. And it didn't work.
The mid-2000 WWE games for PS2, awesome. Not all of them, but some of them in there. And then, of course, the N64. Like, you still can't beat some of those. Those are like the greatest games still.
Royal Rumble for the Dreamcast. That was a belter. That was fucking great. And the Royal Rumble game for the Mega Drive as well. The Genesis, sorry, for you lads. That was it 92, I think that one came out. Rumble 92. That was
Oh yeah, that was good. That was a good one.
So many hours into that.
Yep. But
And then what was the arcade? Was it just the WWF arcade game? What was the one where the
Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. The arcade.
Royal Rumble.
Was that Royal Rumble too?
Yep.
No, there was one that was. I think it was called the arcade game. Like the Undertaker's chokeslam, he like flew across the ring.
Oh
to
yeah,
grab
that was
them, and
WrestleMania. That was the
WrestleMania.
And
WrestleMania.
Doink,
arcade.
and they
Doink
did
had the big colourful hammer as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
Ramon.
WrestleMania. That was the
That was a
That was
good
the
one.
first wrestling game I played.
That was a
That
freaking
was a
great
good one.
game. Yep. We still got Cena to talk about. Cena came out. He's got his farewell to his hair tour going on, and into
his
everybody else.
chest. He looks thin. He looks like he's lost quite a bit of weight. To be fair, that t-shirt
Yeah.
looked like it was starting to hang off him. Not that he's a small bloke, but he had much more presence before, and he's just looking like a bit tame.
Yeah, Cena, get some pump on before you come out again. I mean, the children's clothes doesn't help. He's got now the matching socks now. It is brutal. But it's like the older he gets, the more childlike he becomes. Yeah.
It could just be his apparel, yeah.
Yeah. But John Cena came out, did the odd geez shucks. I don't know if I'm good enough anymore. I don't know if I can do that. I haven't won a match in a million years since the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
And I certainly don't deserve an Oscar. Blush, blush. Fuck off.
Yep. Wink, wink, everybody, right? I do, because I kind of do. I mean, I haven't seen Peacemaker yet, but I'll get around to it. And I'm sure
I was talking about his little naked sort of like run across the stage. That was the performance that'll win him over in Hollywood, won't it? Not actually what he does on screen, it's what he doesn't do on screen. I think they judge him on. So
I think his greatest performance is saying how sorry he was to the Chinese Communist Party.
I think it's the only thing of his that's non-wrestling that I've watched from start to finish, to be honest.
Remember that, Reezy? You remember when John Cena with an X was out here saying, so sorry, Chinese Communist Party, for me saying anything that you did.
I remember that.
Yep. He was so scared. Him and LeBron. Terrified. Lose business.
John Cena's tour is going to be very interesting. Not sure who his first opponent's going to be.
I know he mentioned Logan Paul, and I'm sure Logan Paul is in the mix for probably taking him on at some point this year.
Yeah.
Totally stinks. I don't want it. I mean, come on. Can we really have this, guys? Logan Paul versus John Cena? I say not.
Yeah. I don't see it being that beneficial. It's not a matchup I can see sort of like that. The Miz and Maurice were fucking brilliant when they were doing all this.
I got another clip. I didn't play it yesterday. Here you go. Here's a little John Cena behind the scenes when I recorded it.
A lot of people violate rule number 40 of John Cena's house rules in the living room by forgetting to use drink coasters.
Not me. I know John Cena house rules. I always use a drink coaster. Thank you very much.
John Cena recognized.
John Cena recognized. And here's his laugh. John Cena's patented laugh. John Cena, you are a great man. You're hilarious. You bring us all the greatest wrestling moments, especially when you get really angry and you do the Undertaker thing. Love that moment. My favorite John Cena, of course, because you know me, I blanked out pretty much 2006 on, and I was like, the Doctor of Thugonomics was the shit. And then when he became like military John Cena, I was like, I'm out of this. I'm not military John Cena. I'm Doctor of Thugonomics here. He's from my area too. All these people are from my area. Sasha Banks, John Cena, Carmelo Hayes. They all live around. They all live right down. They're on the same street as me. It's unbelievable.
Another match. How did you guys feel about the Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley?
Oh, we talked about that a little bit. I think that was one of the times when you left, but I'll give you a quick recap again.
I want to recap it. I actually didn't hear you.
It was just like the Tribal Chief match to me. It was everything I expected. It was Rhea gets the belt back. They get what's his name? Daddy Dom gets his comeuppance, and all is right with the world, right? Then Mommy gets to show off her butt cheeks and her cakes while doing the Undertaker pose with the badass Undertaker. And the only reason they did that, Reezy, once again, and for the audience, is because she's got a lot of tattoos. She looks like a biker old lady, as they call them. I'm not calling her an old lady. That's the biker slang term for wives, I guess, or girlfriends. So, see, everybody's learning so much tonight. I love this. And we did talk about Rollins and Punk, right?
Yeah, we talked about Rollins and Punk.
Yep. CM Punk winning, it was weird to me. It was a little.
Well, we kind of predicted that, though.
Yeah, but knowing that he lost 3 times to Cody, put Roman over, helped put Cody over again in a tag match against Roman. I get it because Punk's the top guy, right? He's got to have his WrestleMania main event spot. That's what's coming. Who he fights, who knows at this point, but yeah, he's totally going for the main event at WrestleMania, and he's probably going to get it. And Seth Mugatu Rollins is just going to have to move on or something, become fully bad, start throwing coffee in people's faces. That's what I would do. Wow, we're killing it tonight. We just got through all those big matches. Here's a quick little tidbit. Penta is coming to face off against Chad Gable next week. Everybody knows that's the luchador he's facing. If it's Dragon Lee or Mysterio, that will be stupid. Yep. You got Penta in your life now, Danny.
Why? Just keep him on the fucking mud show. I don't care. There's enough people that can do flips and dives.
Yep. Well, you got to know.
Is he the one that does his zero miedo and sticks his hand in everyone's face all the time? Mm-hmm. And that's like his spot. He does that for like 2 or 3 minutes. That's part of his move set. Just a hand gesture back and yeah, but not for me, thanks. Not for me, thanks. It works it works with an AEW crowd.
Not even Lucha Underground. Do you remember him from those days?
Yeah, no.
I do. I mean,
too much kicking out of everything, and they'll hit like 5 or 6 back-to-back double team moves and still keep going, and yeah, it's too much. Silly.
I used to watch Penta. We're talking Penta, right?
Mm-hmm. I
used to watch Penta before Lucha. I mean, I've been a fan of him for a while. I think Penta going to WWE, he should have been there. He should have been there. But I think right now it's more of the perfect time because I don't think Vinny would have pushed him. He would have got pushed well with NXT, but I think the main roster probably would have buried him. But I'm excited to see what he does. I wouldn't be surprised if they put him with LWO, which I hope not. But we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, get rid of that LWO. That is not.
If they're gonna do it, my ideal for LWO is this: if you guys are gonna keep this going, a way to kind of reboot them is getting rid of Rey Mysterio for one. I would replace Rey Mysterio with Dominic, and then add Penta.
Yeah, Dominic Mysterio could fix the NWO pretty much just by.
Oh yeah. Put Dominic, Penta, I'll put Dragon Lee in there. I'll put the people who can actually go.
Yeah.
And I'll get rid of the guys nobody cares about. Like most of the guys in that group, other than Rey Mysterio and Zelina, I don't even remember their names.
Yeah,
and there's no offense
World
to them.
Order. That's what I call them.
Yeah, there's no offense to them. You know, it's just they haven't been properly introduced or advertised enough for me to care about.
Well, I have one more topic for you guys, and we're going to close this out. But
Okay.
Travis came out in the McIntyre Jey Uso match. You know, this Travis Burger King Scott, as I call him. Remember this, guys?
I have
Remember that
no idea
concept?
who this guy is. I learned his name yesterday, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this prick doing?
I barely know who he is either.
This is all
I'm
news to
sure
me.
Reezy, you can tell her, you can school us on Travis Scott. All I know about him is he had a Burger King sandwich, and a bunch of people died at one of his concerts here at Astro World.
Yeah, not just did a bunch of people die at his concert. When he knew people were dying, he kept the concert going.
Oh, fucking hell.
Evil. So evil. I mean, look at what you're walking into, everybody.
He's one of the biggest musicians alive right now.
Which is crazy to me because his music sounds like everybody else's music out there, which leads me to believe it's more about eating babies, okay, like John Cena, and it's less about your musical abilities and your sensibilities, whatever, what have you. And it's just wild to me. The world is crazy to me. When people, I used to have people tell me, like, when I was a kid, you could be president one day, you could, be the biggest pop star in the world or whatever if you wanted to. No, you can't. Not if you don't eat babies. Like, come on, guys. I've grown up, and now when people ever mention that stuff to me as if like this can actually be reality, it's like, but I'm not blackmailable. I haven't done anything to be blackmailed for. So it's a whole different universe. I wasn't even conspiratorial at all, anybody, until that event happened in 9/11, and I started going, this is thing. I'm like, some things don't make sense, right? And I that's not like the beginning. The real beginning was a few years after that, when I'm like, I would like to get in the music business. How do you do this? Clickety, clickety, click all over the online. And then you find out about all this shit. And this is like early 2000s. And I went, I don't have a shot. Because I'm not going to eat babies. I'm not going to, throw people under the bus and sacrifice and do all this, like, whatever this is. And you know what? I don't even know people to be able to do that. That when you know what I'm saying? Like, you actually have to be in front of people that do that stuff to have a chance at it anyway, the Diddy business and all this other stuff. And it turns into this. And then it blows my mind the older I get. The business has just gotten worse with it. Like I said, with how like the grifters at the beginning have they're starting to slowly come into wrestling now again, now that it's worldwide. This happened with music a long, long time ago. And it's not even reached the climax yet, I don't think, but it's damn close because, like, just look at this picture. This is an actual festival. Okay. And it's, like I said, the same beats, the same rapping style and cadence. Do you remember crab rappers, Reezy? The
crab rappers?
A crab rapper.
Mm-mm.
A crab rapper, it's almost like a crab in a bucket. You know how they drag each other down, but a crab rapper bites off of other rappers. So if, say, somebody does a DMX gimmick, because it's essentially what it is, a gimmick, and then you come out there and you do your gimmick infringement and you're a crab rapper and you're like, your style is basically DMX's style. That was a big no-no back when I was a kid. Now they all do it. They're all crab rappers. They all bite each other's flows and the way they do it all. And it's just been ridiculous for like 20 years almost now. So that's my rant on hip hop in general. There's a few good ones out there. One of them, the Fly God, who actually holds wrestling promotions. Tell us more about that, Reezy.
So West Side Gun and Smoke DZA, two underground rappers, have a wrestling promotion called Fourth Row. It's an indie promotion. They've had many people come up there and support. If you have not seen them, they are on YouTube. Check them out. They are called Fourth Row. They're killing it right now. They're going to be in Vegas in April, which I will be at their show.
Nice.
So
hook it up, Fly God. Let's go, West Side Gun.
And hopefully I get some pictures with them, man.
Better than this. From what I've heard of this, and everybody's amazed that Travis Scott comes out there and is smoking a blunt in front of children, getting them high as fuck. You think that's cool? I don't know. Doesn't seem that cool to me.
Well, it's legal. Well, here's what I'll say.
Whatever, I'll do what I
legal.
want.
It is legal, but Triple H hilariously commented on it because I guess Travis Scott passed it to Jay, and Jay didn't take it, and he was in Jay. Yeah, they asked Triple H about it, and Triple H was like, "Yeah, Travis Scott coming out smoking was pretty cool, but I'm so happy Jay Uso didn't take that from him because that would have ended badly for him."
Mm-hmm.
He's the designated driver between the Usos, isn't he? So yeah, he can't touch that because his brother can't drive him home.
Yeah, I don't think the WWE would even care as long as
it depends on who does it. Because remember, they're very biased. It depends on who it is. If you're one of their big stars that makes them money, like Roman, like if Roman hit that blunt, they wouldn't care.
Yeah. You know who was one of the biggest smokers over there? Not like every day necessarily, but
every day.
Yeah. Vince Mac, man.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been told that by many the wrestler. They say Vince.
Well, in the beginning, Vince wasn't a big smoker.
No, right.
Because he would shit on RVD for smoking, apparently. But then later on, Vince started smoking.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a difference between being an in-ring performer and getting baked out of your mind before a match and being the guy that's like creatively running the show with a headset on, for example, and doing it. Much different because I'm not putting people's lives in danger.
Right.
It's putting their reputations at danger, you see. Like this guy right here, we keep looking at. This is freaking me out. I don't want to look at this anymore.
Yeah, it didn't behave much better on Raw, to be honest. The note I made, like I said, I didn't know who he was. I don't fucking care about pop music. Yeah. It's just...
You guys don't have Burger Kings?
I mean, Travis Scott is known for his Astro World tours and... yeah, but he's a really big artist of this new generation. These kids love him.
Yeah.
They love Taylor Swift. They love McDonald's. They love everything that's advertised to them. So I'm not surprised that someone that you, Doc, said is quite generic is this popular. Yeah. It's always bloody happened. But I just saw a narcissistic twat just holding a belt following Jey Uso. It wasn't about putting the WWE over that he was a guest on. He was just stood there posing, getting himself over. And that was it. And it's like, what do you contribute to this? Is the epitome of all these stupid crossovers that Vince was obsessed with doing when they always put the non-wrestler before the wrestler. And it's just like, we don't care about the wrestlers for now. We've got a proper celebrity. We've got a proper entertainer or a proper star. And Vince would see his own people like that. See also Dolph Ziggler dressed up as the KFC Colonel wrestling people.
Yeah.
Jericho doing the Snickers advert.
Zombies.
Yeah, the Miz getting eaten by zombies. Jericho and R-Truth doing the Snickers adverts. I think Otis and Chad Gable did a Snickers advert a bit ago, and just
Otis is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah,
that guy's entertaining.
Yeah, sometimes I do think it's like, oh, that's nice because that particular wrestler wouldn't have got an advert spot or an endorsement deal. Sometimes I do think that, but then other times you watch it and it's like, this is back when Vince was in charge. It's like, come on, Vince, if you're going to make someone do something that degrading, you put the outfit on. You parade around as the KFC Colonel.
Put the turban on, Dr. Huge. You look Indian. Put the turban. I'm like, I'm not Indian, Vince. I don't want to put the turban. You're going to put the turban on, pal, or you're going to lose your job.
It's Ricky Steamboat. You dragon now. It's like, I'm not from there. You dragon. It's like, I'm not from there, Vince. And it's like, no, quiet. You dragon now. So, all right, I'm the dragon now. Fair enough. Just give me the headdress and the fire and
I love the Undertaker story where he's like, I just didn't want to be the Eggman. He's like, I thought I was going to be the Eggman for a minute. And I was like, holy shit, why did I say that? I was this close to being the egg. Oh, man. Yeah, that's wild stuff. New NXT's going on right now, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. Roxanne is taking on Julia later tonight. Get this over with already. This feels like a Liv Rhea deal to me, where it's just like, we understand that you've been building up to this. Let's get this over with. Put the strap on Julia.
Julia. Now, first off, let's get to Julia. Julia is going to be a megastar.
Yep.
She's going to be a megastar. I think, I know, Julia is going to win this match and send Roxanne to the main roster. I'm kind of afraid for Roxanne going to the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure how that's going to work, but hopefully it works good. But Julia is a megastar, man. She got style. She got charisma. She can work the mic. She's a great worker in the ring. I mean, she has all the tools to be a star.
And Stephanie Vacker,
that's another one.
She'll be winning her match. She's in a fatal 4-way with Kalani, Cora Jade, and Lola. But I'm saying Stephanie Vacker's winning this match because this is a number one contender spot for the mid card, the North American women's title there. And if anybody's going to win, if Julia's going to win the main title, Stephanie's going to win the mid card. I think that's how they'll start out.
Mm-hmm. I can see that happening. I mean, you also got Rico.
How about this? I think Stephanie Vacker is better than Julia. Just I
wouldn't argue that. I wouldn't argue that. I like Julia better, but I wouldn't argue that. You know, those two will put on a killer match.
It was the first match, apparently. Don't ruin it for us. No spoilers. I'm gonna go and watch it in a little bit.
I'm gonna go watch it too. You know.
And then we got Olba, Trick, and Eddie Thorpe for the championship, which probably is the main event. And I'm guessing Obafemi is going to win it if Trick moves up, if they have plans for that. Again, I don't understand how they're moving all these people up when they have tons of people up there already. So maybe he retains this Trick. And a few others lower matches. You get the Fatal Influence girls against the chicks with the toys, which reminded me of this. I was just hitting samples before the show, and I went,
I'm the beast.
No, I don't want you. We're close. We're almost there.
Shut up.
No, not you. Where's my sound effects? We'll find it in a second.
Each one of you will admire me.
That's not it.
Respect me, and you will love me.
Thank you, Dolph Ziggler.
I'm the beast.
Where is it?
Shut up.
Hey, you shut your... The best in the...
I swear to God, I had it queued up in this spot. Where did they go?
Dropping fucking words.
There it is. Here goes my comedy bit now, everybody, now that I'm prepared.
You want to taste the tuna? No.
We don't want to taste the tuna. That's what she's saying.
You want to taste the tuna? Yes.
Or maybe you do.
Yes.
Maybe you guys do. I don't know. Do you taste the tuna, King Reezy?
Trailer park trash.
Well, The Rock's here now, too.
You want to taste the tuna?
She's talking to you, King Reezy.
I mean, Gigi, darling.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Anytime from Gigi, darling. I'll tell you that.
Danny?
You want to taste the tuna?
I don't like waiting in line. Sorry.
No.
Well, there you have it. We've said it all. Everybody out there, get retweeting and sharing. I might not be back tomorrow because, I'll be too busy watching AEW or something. But no, I'm definitely be back Thursday. And I'm going to have Jay Alletto from PWP on. Big Hulk Hogan fan. All that stuff. We're going to get into it all. And thank you once again, Reezy and Danny Damage, for coming on. Killing it as usual. Staying extra innings, overtime. And to everybody out here, thank you for pressing those buttons, the few people that actually do. We need the watch hours over here on YouTube. Get over here on YouTube. Go buy my album, all the music that you hear, at the beginning of the show. And we'll talk to you guys later. Good game, everybody. Have a good night.
This is Kevin Sullivan, formerly of the WCW, and if you don't listen to the Dr. Hughes show, I'm going to come down and kick your door in and turn it on for you.
Wow, we're doing it again. We have Jay Alletto here from PWP. Can you hear me, Jay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're doing it right now. We're killing it. I got back in the business. And speaking of, are you back in the business right now? I haven't really been up.
I do some stuff behind the scenes. I'm not really in front of the camera much anymore, but I'm still running the Facebook page, PWP Nation on Facebook. That's where I'm doing the most traffic. It's really ridiculous traffic, to be honest with you.
Nice.
So I'm doing really good traffic
right?
there, but X isn't as kind to me anymore at the moment. So, but Facebook's where it's at for me. That's where I do the most traffic.
Yeah, I got to get back on the Facebook because I gave up on them back in the day. You know what did it for me? Before I started plugging and doing all this stuff and talking about wrestling, I was on Facebook around 2015, I believe it was. It was leading up to Trump getting into office. And I had mentioned, there was a buzz going around about The Rock and Zuckerberg actually like becoming a ticket someday. And I had mentioned that, and they took my post down and said it was too sensitive. And I was like, I just said, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? I had 500. I think I still have 500 people on the Facebook page. Go say hi to the Sleaze. The Sleaze is running the Facebook right now. But Facebook was the shits. And I was just like, I am out of here. I can't take this.
Yeah, I just was able to get the right algorithm, and just slowly over time with consistent posting was able to get, a little bit of a performance bonus payout from them. And that's just been really good. It's up and down all year, but dude, it's just amazing how you can scale just with consistency. But, a lot of stuff happened on X and for other circumstances. I always want to get back in front of the camera, and stuff like this usually makes me want to do that. So thanks for inviting me on the show tonight. I appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you for coming on.
No doubt, bro.
Getting people out here to not be flaky these days is pretty hard. You know what I mean? They're like, everybody wants to do the show, but then they don't want to do the show.
Yeah, I try to stick to my word, and I understand what it's like to try to get people to do the show, and they're not good guests, and they, and I'm not saying I'm a great guest by any stretch of the imagination, or they don't show up at all, and they cancel last minute. I hate that kind of stuff as well. Yeah. So I'm pumped to do it.
When they're not a good guest, and then they don't show up anyway, because that's like a double kick between the legs.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're really okay, but
for sure.
Yeah. Hey, did you know I have an album out? Everybody,
no.
And Jay, yep, I make music. It's electronic music. A lot of people don't seem to care for it, but the only people they've been showing this to online are 45 plus years old, and this ain't for them. This is some yeet music or something like that. So go check it out, kids. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. I'm gonna add it to my playlist right now.
Thanks.
You make sure I do that. No problem, dude. Because I like to. Is that what we were listening to? Kind of in when we were waiting to go on the air tonight. Is that what we're listening to?
That's right.
I loved it.
Use that music, and then they can't copyright me to death like they've done before. I also have a YouTube channel, all that stuff. Go check it all out. All over the place online with this Dr. Hugenstein gimmick. Got the Teespring going. Got to put more merch out there. I'm running the gambit this time. We're doing it different this time around because me. I took 5 years off. I got burnt out, and I refuse to do that again. That's why I didn't do a show last night because I'm just like I don't want to do a show tonight, and if I do, back in the day, I wasn't doing that. I just did a show every day, and it burns you right the hell out, especially when you're kind of doing everything. I got the audio podcasts up on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts today and everything. I got all this stuff going on. I'm editing this, I'm editing that, and it burns you right out, especially when you're only talking about a certain subject that is scripted. It's movie-like, and then you got all this serious business going on in the world and affecting me, and I was just like,
I know what it's like, dude. I took a step back from doing stuff like this, but I was on GTS Wrestling for a while, doing various things there. So I actually got into the ring, and I was refereeing matches for a few years there with Grimm, doing some stuff in the backyard. And even though it's a backyard wrestling show, very much was a creative process. Lots of ad-libbing stuff, but very, very fun, man. We had a great time doing it. He still does shows multiple times a week. It's pretty incredible. And but I haven't been there in probably I don't know, a little over a year now, I would say. But might make my return any day. Who knows?
Yep, you never know. Out here refereeing. Are you a cheating referee? You one of these ones that, you get distracted by anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a part of the gimmick, dude. You have to. It's like if they tell you, like, all right, so you're going to get distracted at this moment, you kind of have to get distracted at that moment.
Right.
That's just a part of the thing. But dude, in all honesty, like there are times where it gets real when you're refereeing and there's actual calls you have to make. You'll sometimes see a wrestler take, especially when you're in the backyard with complete amateurs most of the time, right? There are some professionals that came through, like James Ellsworth, guys like that would come through. But most of the time it's amateurs, and sometimes they get a little bit ahead of themselves and start fighting it out for real. And if you're the referee, you got to kind of put your foot down and stop that. So, but yeah, had a lot of fun doing that. Got in the ring a few times too. Worked in a mask a little bit, worked as myself a couple times. So I'm definitely I don't consider myself a professional wrestler, but did a little bit of training, got in there, scrapped a bit, lived kind of that bucket list dream a bit there. So. Yeah.
I would rather have you on my TV than Pat McAfee. No, I don't know if you've been watching lately or keeping up on the Twitters and things, but this Pat McAfee, I don't like it. I don't like this gimmick. Everybody like this video and share it everywhere right now. What's going on, Philly Sports Pride in the house? Shout out to you and the Eagles, even though I can't stand your fan base and I hate their guts. Good luck this playoffs. You're going to need it. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I went to Philadelphia for WrestleMania this past year, and I'm a Giants fan, so kind of being in that building kind of feels sacrilegious to me when there's not the Giants kicking their ass happening on the field. But it was an awesome freaking experience, man. That stadium was amazing, and I got a suite. So I didn't get the suite. I actually bought into it, got lucky, got some great tickets, pretty cheap, and it was amazing, dude. It was a great experience, but. Dude, man, yeah, it kind of makes my skin crawl a little bit being around all that Eagle shit.
Yeah, the chanting. Like, we get it. You know how to spell Eagles, Move on.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Jets. I'm a Pats fan, so we have the Jets in our division, and it's just, Jets. Yeah. Oh, wow. Good job, guys.
Yeah, it's lame, dude. I hate it. Can't stand it.
And I can't stand the Giants either. How about that?
I don't blame you. They stink, bro. They're terrible.
Crazy.
Yeah, we smoked you guys though twice in the Super Bowl. Now, how old a guy are you, man? You're how old?
I'm 23 years old.
Bullshit. How old are you?
I'm 43. Yeah. So I took all this in. Tom Brady showed up when I was 20, 21 years old, something like that. And I, it was all happening right there. And I was there before the Drew Bledsoe days. I was there during. People don't even know this guy, Hugh Millen. Early 90s,
I don't even know that name.
They were terrible. They won like 1 or 2 games every season. They were called the Patsies. The whole deal with what's going on now with everybody wearing paper bags, it was bad. I mean, it was way worse than it was now. I mean, Kraft took over in 93. We got Bledsoe, and things started looking up from there. And then, of course, Tom Brady, and the rest is history with that. But yep, those two.
Yeah, Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells too is both coach of the Giants and of the Patriots. But those Super Bowls where the Giants just somehow came back from behind and was able to beat the Pats, that was amazing. I just turned 40 this past year in December, so like that was a big part of like me coming up and being a Giants fan. But they're pathetic this year, so I barely paid any attention. But fantasy football is really what I go after. That's what I pay attention to.
Yeah. This is actually my first year not playing fantasy, which is kind of crazy. Because I had a league for like 20-something years straight. But we'll be getting back to it next year. It's funny. I actually kind of liked it. I needed that year off, like Belichick. And then maybe I'll go to college fantasy football or something next season.
Yeah, every once in a while, it's good to take a break from that. I took a year off a few years ago as well. But I came in second place last year. So I was able to – the way I look at it is if I rank and I win some money out of the gig, then I get to play the next few years for free, So
Yep.
That's what it's all about.
Fantasy, man. I always get screwed over in fantasy. I'll have the best teams. I draft so well, but my attention span is pretty low. So by the end of the season, I'll start like 7-1 every season because I draft so good. And then the end of the season, I get beat by Jameis Winston and all these bums out here, and it makes you nuts.
If you're not working the waiver wire and picking guys up strategically to block them from other teams getting them, you have to do like weird stuff like that. Just work it every single week. That can win you a couple extra games throughout the season.
Yeah. I know you watched this Netflix Raw, right? Yep. Experts. We're journalists. We're real analysts around here. And the number one story with that, of course, is Hulk Hogan coming out with the All-American beer, trying to sell it. Jimmy Hart behind him with the American flag. And then he just gets booed to death. I seen you got some hot takes out there. Do you have anything to say about this? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I do. And, I understand why everybody's mad at Hulk Hogan. I think we all have for the past, 10 years now. Like, we get it. We understand. Dude, we understand why everyone's mad at him. Like, I'm not telling people how to feel or to move on, but, you're talking about it in the context of a professional wrestling show. He's out there to make an announcement. Yeah, I'm a Hulkamaniac for life, 100%. So I get it. Even if you go back and watch the open to that Raw, and people are kind of mixed on the cold open where, they had that big montage play and then they revealed Triple H. And like, even in that, they booed Hulk Hogan when he came on the screen. Like, as soon as they showed Hulk Hogan on the screen, they booed the hell out of him. So, I mean, that kind of set the page, set the table, I would think, in a way. But at the end of the day, what they have to do is capitalize on this somehow, some way. And they can do it by going to Texas at Saturday night's main event, putting Hulk Hogan back out there and seeing how they react to him in Texas. Because if you put him out there in San Antonio, he might get a crazy 10-minute standing ovation, especially knowing how the audience is different all over the United States, all over the world. The audience is different. So I think that would be a great dynamic if they trotted him out there again to do another kind of beer commercial. And he can talk about whatever, the legacy of Saturday night's main event. And then perhaps he'll get cheered. And then we'll be talking about him again. So there's nobody who's a better self-promoter in the history of the business than Hulk Hogan.
It's true. Yep. And I've been thinking about this too, Philly sports. A lot of the fans today don't even know about Hogan in his glory days because they're so young. And then when you think about it like that, they only know Hogan from having sex with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife, the secret tapes, the N-words with my daughter and all this. And the biggest one to me, listen, don't lie and say you got Hulk Hogan has a 12-inch penis and Terry Bollea has the 8-inch penis now. And we got to all figure this out legally and litigate this. But, just stick to the 8-inch. It's good enough. You're above average from what I've seen out here. Cause I'm always watching for that. So especially I noticed Adam Cole, remember a couple of years ago, Adam Cole came out in them little undies. He's not even sporting a Terry Bollea. So that's all I got to say about that. But
the thing about Hulk Hogan is nobody's ever said he's an honest man. Like, no one ever says oh, this is the most honest man in the world, brother. It was never about say your prayers, train, and be the most honest person in the room, dude. He would preach that stuff. You would want to assume that a good guy on TV like that is honest, but he was always the wrestler that's raking the back, raking the eyes, doing thumb in the eyes, all this crazy heel wrestling tactics while he's even working as the biggest babyface on the planet. So I don't want to hear it about he should be this honest, upstanding citizen because he's not one, and no one ever said he was or supposed to be. But let's be real, man. He's Hulk Hogan. We know why he's there. And to discount the fact, I saw so many takes like this, bro. And this will be, I'll talk about this as much as you want to talk about it tonight because I can go in multiple directions with this. But the craziest take I saw is that people aren't mad about his political beliefs. Bro, when he came out and said, enough is enough, brother, Hulkamania, Trumpamania running wild, and just endorsed Donald Trump fully, that was a huge part of the campaign. That was absolutely epic. And the fans then, I remember it because I was marching for Hulk Hogan at that point. The fans were so mad at Hulk Hogan, dude. The wrestling fans, they were pissed. They were very pissed because he was speaking up against Kamala Harris and all that stuff, and really kind of throwing her under the bus completely and making fun of her and stuff. So they were mad about that. And to say this wasn't politically motivated at all is BS, dude. These were woke people in the crowd. You knew they were going to boo Hulk Hogan. I'm not surprised they booed him at all. But of course, my hot takes are going to be he doesn't deserve to be booed. Because let's get over it. Let's move on. It's a night of celebrations. They need to capitalize on this, dude. Somehow, some way they will.
Yeah. I mean, sure. I think the WWE knew this was going to happen. They're in LA. They're
okay.
Does it to me every time. It's just music.
No problem.
Picks me up once a show. But WWE should have known this was going to happen. I just can't believe that they would just go throw him out there in Los Angeles, and not think that Hulk Hogan was going to get booed. He was going to get booed. There was political elements to this, of course, but it's mainly, to me, it's mainly the N-bomb getting caught on the sex tape. Then you got the what else was there? The Sun stuff before that didn't help.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course not.
That, but that's like, we're old timers, so he, like you said, he's kind of been lying and being. Remember when he played bass for Metallica?
Yeah. He said he was. They called him up. They're like, we want you to be the bass player for Metallica, but I was wrestling Big Boss Man at the Garden, brother, and I couldn't do it. Like, give me a break, dude.
Stop the wrestling union with Jesse Ventura and all these things. Like these are now like known things. But when he did come back, remember when he supposedly met with the people backstage and gave this speech, and everybody hated the speech, and they were like, this speech stinks. Like, he really doesn't care. I think it's because with a Hulk Hogan, a Ric Flair, people like that in the business, they think they're above everybody else, and they're kind of like, listen, do you really want me to apologize for all this? And he may even be justified in feeling that way a little bit, going like, I was just caught on a stupid sex tape saying it, and maybe I think about him, but not everybody else, all these things going on probably in his head. But then again, it's like, you just got to bite the bullet, especially if you're going to be connected to the WWE and you get caught in something like that. You might as well just go, hey guys, go backstage, really kiss the New Day's ass, and Bobby, whoever you need to kiss ass back there, Booker T, put him over and all this stuff online. But maybe he really doesn't like the brothers, dude. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, there might be something to it. It just makes you think it's just that moment, Yeah. I gotta always play devil's advocate to everybody, and everybody hates it. But I can't agree with everybody that comes on, people, or else I don't have a show.
Yeah, of course, dude. Of course. Well, let me put it like this, right? Like, I'm one to watch the shoot interviews and get an understanding of what the other wrestlers say about Hulk Hogan and the situation. And I didn't hear any of the other wrestlers really say he's got a known history of racism. He ever acted racist towards them. They've ever seen him act racist towards any fan or bring anything up in racial terms at all, ever. So, I mean, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that attributes anything. I do chalk this up to, I did read Hulk Hogan's book, and he wrote this book, of course, right around the time this was all going on, right? He was going through some really dark times, major divorce with his wife at the time, Linda, terrible times. What you mentioned, kind of stuff with his son was going on. So I'm not trying to excuse Hulk Hogan of saying these horrible things about his people, even questioning if he's racist or not, or whatever the case in that tape that we've all heard 1,000 times. But he was depressed. I mean, I'm not one to judge a man by their darkest moments, especially a decade or so later, right? If there was like a known history of this, we would have heard about it. These stories would keep coming out over and over and over again about his blatant racism and being mean and hateful towards, black people or any people of any different color than, white people from Florida, brother, So that's what really says to me, hey, can we cut the dude some slack sometimes in some circumstances? I get if LA is going to boom, I understand. But I think they really need to capitalize on this. January 25th, San Antonio, Texas. March him out there. Once again, have him do the same promo, pretty much, but now putting over Saturday Night's Main Event, the history of that, and promote the Beer Brother and all this stuff. And see how they react. You're going to see a different reaction, I bet, if that happens. Doubtful. They're probably going to take their foot off the gas, I would think, right? You probably agree that they're going to take their foot off the gas, but don't play it safe, right? Lean into it. Yeah. And I would think the old school wrestler and Hulk Hogan would want to lean into it. So we'll see how they do it.
The rumor is that Hulk Hogan is not going to be doing any live stuff anytime soon, that it'll be all tape stuff and everything. I don't know how true that would be. Of course, I would buy in. I'm going headfirst into this old school wrestling style. Hopefully they do. I've seen the rumors too. People want Hogan to join the New Day just because it would be crazy. The extra booing, if they're booing anyway, put Hogan out there with these two guys that you're already giving the Dominic Mysterio treatment to. It would be amazing.
I would love it. And
it wouldn't make any people would try to make sense of it, wait a second, but he doesn't like black people. It's like it would be amazing.
It would be. It would be awesome. You could even have them portray like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and even do an NWO thing, just be funny about it. But did you hear today, by the way, like Mark Henry was on TMZ talking about how he offered Hulk Hogan an opportunity to go to around the black colleges, like to do a tour, like a speaking tour, and apologize and talk about the issues and stuff. And he was like, and I'm laughing and kind of giggling about it because he was half-heartedly being like, Hulk should have done that, and if he would have done that, people might have forgiven this. And no fucking, first of all, no way. They wouldn't have forgiven him if he would have done this tour.
It wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have mattered. No way. Because what would have happened? Like, what would have the best case scenario have been if he would have done that tour? Like, what's he going to get out of it? The guy's a 70-year-old, ex biggest pro wrestler, biggest superstar of all time. What's he going to get out of talking to black colleges? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep. And you know me, I'm not a Trump fan. I think I'm above all of this. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. I feel like I'm old enough. I've seen enough. I know that everybody's fucking me. Like, I get it. Everybody's fucking me. But, Trump is the only one that gave money to the black colleges, like when he first got into office. And like a lot of people don't know this. So if Hulk Hogan is doing all this and going around and, doing the I'm Sorry tour at the black colleges, that wouldn't mean shit. People don't even know about the Trump in the black colleges because all the other presidents didn't give a shit. They're like, yeah, whatever, we'll get to you the next time. And Trump told them, I think the quote or something was to this effect, where he was just like, you won't need to worry about this anymore. Like, we got you with this. So it's
this just popped in my head. If you really wanted to go in a weird direction with this, with Hulk Hogan, you would align him with Gunther.
No, yeah. Oh my goodness.
There you go. Really lean into it.
We know what they're trying to do with Gunther and Ludwig, right? In the subconscious mind, at least of mine.
Of course, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're always they've been tickling our subconscious since at least the 80s. They do these. I know for a fact, right? And I can't tell you the exact year they did this, but they've worked with all the psychologists and psychiatrists and the top leading brain experts on the planet, and they know how to use different shapes and lighting techniques and camera cuts. All the camera cuts they do to almost hypnotize the audience in a sense. Like, I'm speaking very basic vernacular here to describe the kind of MK Ultra-ish brain fuck they give to the fans. I know being in the audience, bro, a number of years ago during the dark era when McMahon was really losing his marbles, like WrestleMania 35 type era, I went to a few of those shows and they would play theme music all throughout the break. Like Braun Strowman's music would just play for 3 minutes straight. And it's it's mind numbing, bro. It's really something where they do that intentionally to just mess with you, in my opinion. Maybe I'm going too deep into the weeds here, but I think that's something that they're great at and they've always done and will forever do.
Yep. Yeah, it's all occultic stuff too. The logos, the designs, the names. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. I was like, you realized one night Vince McMahon came out and was speaking about Dolph Ziggler, but he kept calling him Dolph Ziggler. So how I do things, I just go, what's a Ziggler? What is that last name? Because he knows who he is. He knows his character he put on TV, right? So he's doing this on purpose because he said Ziggler 3 times. So I looked up the name Ziggler and it means bricklayer or something like that. Bricklaying, masonry.
Interesting. Well,
and it doesn't, that's just the beginning of, going down this rabbit hole. I used to do CSWNN shows about this. I did a 2-parter on the occultic stuff that the WWE does and the messages that they're giving people. I don't know if they're hip to everything. I don't understand how it works, if it's all compartmentalized. All this stuff usually is. But when Vince was on board, at least, Apollo Crews, the name Apollo, just look that up. Look up all a lot of the stuff. Sheamus coming out with his garb, Triple H and that symbol. You can literally just go on and on. It's almost everybody. And then there are certain promos that they do that are very suspect when they're talking about things. One of the times Jesse Ventura came out with the double-headed eagle, leather jacket. There's a whole lot of, there's just so much there, and it all revolves around Vince, in my opinion.
Yeah, and even Bray Wyatt, you look back at some of those promos, they were almost too intentional, right? Like with their subliminal messages they were giving out. And Vince, I've heard, and I've tried to get this confirmed, through certain people I know in the business, and I've never had somebody 100% tell me that it's actually true, but I've heard he's like the highest level of Freemason you can get, like 33rd degree or something.
I believe
that's what I've heard.
I believe it.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's true. I've asked literal WWE superstars and people who work there behind the scenes, and they could not confirm or deny, but they said they don't know at all. They have no clue, but I've always heard that. And I've been ignored largely when I ask that question. And that's always,
and it's not like all Freemasonry is evil and stuff like this, but they, it's like infiltrations. Like they probably infiltrated a long time ago, long ago in a planet far, far away. And they got in there before anybody. And now we got to, we drive around your town. You ever see them symbols? You probably don't think you do, but there's like one on almost every corner of the fucking street, even in middle America. And it's like, oh, by the way, we're here. You know?
Yeah, there's
how Washington's laid out.
There's literally one, in my town right down the street, and it's funny because you just see that G and you're like, I don't know what goes on in that building. I think I kind of have an idea, but I don't necessarily want to knock on the door. That's one place I don't want to go, even though like I do know somebody who knows somebody who's in, like one of my buddies' relative is in, and they just do like local fundraisers and just like hang out and like drink beer and watch football. So there's all different, I guess, levels to the thing.
Right. Like it's just like think of it like a religion. You go to church, you think the people sitting in the pews and everything, they're all in on it, right? Everybody's in on it. No, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
It's the people in the higher up in the organizations, probably not even of that one place. It could go somewhere else, a chapter, if you will, and then that person, then who runs that person, so on and so forth. But people don't think like this for some reason. They just go, you're crazy, Dr. Huge. Everybody can't be in on it. You know how many times I've heard that in my life? Yeah. It's like, it just makes me go, like, you really think everybody can be in on it like that? It doesn't, whatever. Anyway. So, yeah, Vince is in the Illuminati, if you didn't know. It's a fact, not opinion around here. So, what's up, Vince? Yep, dapping me up.
Yeah, I still, since we're talking about Vince, I'll talk about him for a second. I still like, the jury is still out for me on Vince McMahon overall, as like an overall human being and all this stuff. I'm not.
You don't think he's real?
No. I mean, I think I just don't know if he's really, really that bad of a dude. I do think he's pretty much a demented piece of shit. But I don't know if there's a lot of validity to some of the major accusations against him. I don't know. We'll see. It remains to be seen. I was kind of hoping to see him as like the CEO of the board of TKO for a while or whatever. The on the executive, whatever freaking he had, the chairman, the founder, whatever role it was, just see what his involvement in the UFC would be. If he would have any kind of, add some like pyro or something, pop in circumstance to the UFC, some kind of production value, give guys gimmicks or something like that. Yeah. I always kind of had he wasn't around long enough to do anything. So I always had a curiosity of what he would have done. And I keep hearing he might be doing something upcoming as well. He might have some projects in the works. So, I know his team's available. So, most of the guys.
It's going to be? It's going to be something to do with that, maybe.
100%.
But I'm in the same boat as you as far as that goes, I think, too. Because do I think he sounds, from all the stories I've heard, people working with him and everything, he's a weird dude, right? Very 100%. Weird. One day can be very nice. The next day can be a total prick. Maybe that's the life of a billionaire and being in the Illuminati. And then all this stuff comes out, right? And they show the same photo of this woman all the time. But then I've heard she was 22 or like in her early 20s. And then I heard she was in her 40s. And I'm like, it's hard to find some of this information. I'm actually looking some of this up. Like, how old is she? Like, what is going on?
Early 40s, dude. And she was married the entire time this was happening. She was married. And she was married to a lawyer of some Spanish TV network, like one of the big Spanish TV networks. He's a lawyer for it. The name of the network.
Hold on. This is news to me. So she isn't a 20-year-old that just needs the money so bad from Daddy Vince?
No. She's a 40-year-old married to her husband, lived in the same exact complex. You know, it's a condo complex. There's a bunch of condos in this area, and they live in it. And she would like go literally from that place with her husband down to go visit Vince and do
We'll
what
just
she
say
did with Vince.
allegedly to everything,
Allegedly.
just in case.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, in our
I mean,
opinions.
These are in all the this is in all the public documents. I mean, this is everything. If you read through all of the documents, her lawsuit doesn't say any of this, but his responses to her lawsuit say this. So that's what he alleges. Vince McMahon alleges this is the case. And yeah, I have no reason to not believe that. And no, she's in her 40s, bro. She was in a movie. She was like a failed Hollywood actress, dude. And her attorney, I did some deep dive on her attorney. I don't trust her at all. She's a Democrat operative. Her father was a Democrat judge from, I think, I might be wrong, Illinois, I believe. And he was very high ranking. He was a big donor to the Democrat Party every year. They could expect millions out of him. And he tried to make his daughter a judge. And she actually was, but she was the worst ranked judge. She was like the worst ranked one or whatever. And she ended up failing as a judge. Then she had a failed Senate bid. She got endorsed by Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi.
She did a lot of stuff.
Oh, bro, this is the lawyer. I'm talking about the lawyer. I'm talking about the lawyer. Her lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the woman's lawyer. So the woman's lawyer, to me, is just the swamp personified. Like, nobody likes a lawyer anyway, but nobody likes a feminist, Democrat operative lawyer. Ugh, it just grosses me out. And bro, to be honest, if you search her name's Ann Callis on Twitter. I'm the only one calling her out. Like, there's nobody else calling her out really, except for me. I respond to Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics all the time. He's always interviewing her and putting out good press about her. She's the absolute worst. She's a demon. She sucks. And I think she's behind a lot of this vitriol against Vince McMahon. I think a lot of it's to do with Trump and the whole thing. And I think there's a bad actor in the WWE as well who unleashed this. I think, at the end of the day, Janelle Grant was madly in love with Vince McMahon, I think, and he broke it off with her, and she went crazy and is trying to like get what she thinks she's owed, and that's millions upon millions of dollars.
Broke off the agreement. Probably not. I don't really believe that she's madly in love with an 80-year-old. I think she likes the fact that he's an 80-year-old that is a damn near a billionaire. I mean, that's probably more like it. We'll call it that instead.
Maybe.
That's more reality based.
Did you read the letter that she sent Vince though? I mean, anybody can write.
I actually did read those. It was a while back, so I don't remember what was in it. But yeah, I thought that was a little fishy too. That it wasn't one of the letters during some of this, like stuff.
The lawyer says that like Vince coerced her to write that letter. He liked to get letters written to him, so she would write letters to him often.
So you'd hold her by the back of the neck and like push her face into a notepad and be like, "Come on, you're doing this, pal. Put the turban on, Dr.
Write the letter. Write the letter now, you bitch."
Oh, Vin. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I believe that he's weird and probably into all this stuff and passing her his chicks around and doing the whole thing. He's living in a different world than most people. And a lot of the people that are in his world with him are brought in by Vince, and they're just going to go, "Yes, Vince, yes, yes." But you know what that reminds me of? This chick from FS1?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Remember her?
Mm-hmm.
Remember the story on her, everybody, that came out this week? Or last week, rather? I mean, that's some crazy stuff. I mean, so there's proof this type of thing actually happens. People get thrown under the bus that are sleeping around at work and all that, Yep.
Well, if she, had sex with John Laurinaitis allegedly, or peed for Brock Lesnar allegedly, or whatever the hell happened, and Vince coerced her to do it. Of course, if he coerces her under false pretenses, and then, that's obviously illegal. You can't be doing that stuff. But she's got to prove that she didn't do this stuff willingly, that she wasn't, because she's an adult, right? It's not like she can't make decisions for her own. And it's not like she was breaking any laws herself. He didn't coerce her to break the law. He, allegedly coerced her to do some sick sexual perverted stuff. And you can't be doing that in a position of power at an organization where you have her employed. So I understand the lawsuit if he did this, if this is actually what happened. But John Laurinaitis just recently amended his lawsuit as well, his response to the lawsuit. So we'll see how it plays out. We're not hearing a lot about it. I don't think anything's going to really come out of it, to be honest, dude. I really don't. I think Vince is going to get off the hook.
Yeah. He'll be off the hook. It will be kind of real. It will all be very quiet. She'll be very, very rich going forward. And that's that. Not like she wasn't before. That's what I'm saying. All this is just like obscene, you know? And again, that's why I don't really believe in politics, because again, like what you got Vince McMahon, who's ultra conservative, or at least is a part of that world, right? And then he's going to get with this Democrat chick with these ties, and he's not going to know anything about that. Put him on his team and not think anything's going to happen, especially the way things have been going the past 10 years at this point. Like everybody's nuts. It's I've always spoken out about cults, and people don't understand that they're in cults a lot of the time. They think that cults are only little small religious sects. No, they're the big ones too, and they're all different types of cults. Political and gender now. You got a cult for friggin' everything, and then they put everybody in these little bubbles, and if they stray, their people get mad at them. It's a tug of war. It's like they hold people and your family members over your head. It's just like an actual religious cult if you would think about it, but it's now for the masses, and that's why nobody really gets on my team, because I don't have a team. there's no team to join. I'm the team of common sense. How about that? Things
I get
that
it.
make sense.
I get it. I can get into the MAGA thing a little bit, just because I really like President Trump towards the end, especially towards like the end of his term, and I really like him now. But I know that you can get too deep into that kind of stuff, right? I get it. You can go too deep, and I'm not really like following it too much now. I'm happy he won the election, and I'm trying to back off it. But speaking on like the WWE part with the politics and stuff, you know, a lot of people that work there are really like liberal and woke and stuff. So
Well, yeah,
people
Kevin
that work,
Owens was trying to get people to put masks on.
oh yeah,
Karen Owens.
Dude, absolutely, man. There's a lot of them there, and it was only a matter of time before somebody canceled Vince. And this is the worst thing they could have done is to start the original investigation into his misconduct in the office and get him thrown off the board, forcing him to retire the first time, which he never should have done in the first place, because that just muddied the waters initially. Everybody was suspicious. Now he's suddenly retired, then he came back, and now he's out again, and he's still got 20, I don't know, what did they say? Millions of shares still, I believe, TKO. He's still holding millions of shares, which is at like an all-time high almost of $140 a share. And he still has a couple $billion. So, man, it's just, to me, that story is just waiting to explode. I think we're going to see something pretty soon out of it.
Yeah. What do you think about this John Cena Farewell to My Hair tour that he's going on this year?
I love it.
he's going to win the Royal Rumble, right? What do you think?
I think very possible. I don't think it helps anybody on the roster. But when you think about it that way, who else is ready to win it at this point? You know, Roman Reigns potentially, I guess, could be a candidate to win it. I don't know what direction they want to go with him at WrestleMania. So it could be a bit of a convoluted title picture. It's really kind of up in the air at this point. But since they're going heavy with him being in it, and him saying that might be his only way to get to WrestleMania for that title shot, I believe he's a front runner right now. And I know what they want to do. They want to sell out arenas all over the country with John Cena, and they're going to do it. They're going to have another like blockbuster year of WWE business for sure on his back. And that's what he wants to do essentially, even though he couldn't really commit to how many matches he's going to wrestle. He's going to be at basically every show from here on out. So it's going to be an impressive run for Cena. I wish him well, because it's tough to go in there and bump, and I hope he takes it easy and, you know, doesn't fill up his bump card too quickly, because he doesn't have that many left, I don't think. But it should be interesting, and you got to believe he's got big feuds lined up, right? Kevin Owens probably is lined up, Randy Orton, all these guys. So it should be a very, very awesome, interesting run. I'm pumped to see it.
Hopefully not Logan Paul, because
it's the shits.
Logan Paul's the shits. I don't care if he's great in the ring and all this stuff. You know what? This is why I can't tell people you gotta like Hulk Hogan or deal with it or whatever. I can't, because I don't like Logan Paul, and he's just fine, and people are okay with what he does off screen, but I'm not. I think he's a typical scumbag. I see this as a WWE making the most of their business opportunities. I can't fault them for that either, but it doesn't make me happy. seeing Logan Paul all the time, he's just like he's the male Hawk 2, I've been calling him this year.
Dude, yeah, he's hurt way more people than Hulk Hogan ever did, in my opinion. I mean, I know Hulk Hogan, what he said with his words hurt people, but Logan Paul's hurt people's finances.
Like literally hurt people. Yeah, it's like, took food out of their kids' mouths and things like that.
Dude, people lost their life savings on Crypto Zoo, and I don't, a lot of people don't know too much about crypto, so I don't talk about it much, even when I'm on any podcast, but I'm open to talk about it all. I followed that story very closely, and he really ruined a lot of lives, and he was never really held accountable for it. Not only that, the Japanese farce thing was really in bad taste. It was, to me, that was a real horrible thing to do, and I understand why people are mad about that. Dumb kid learned a dumb lesson. And he's a very, very egomaniacal guy, and I think eventually it'll all probably come back around to bite him in the ass, I think. But again, great in the ring, fantastic in the ring, unbelievable in the ring, great on the mic, just incredible on the mic, all that stuff. But yeah, definitely scumbag, no question about that. I agree.
He's gonna come back supposedly with his brother as his manager, maybe this time.
Okay.
There's a rumor of that going around. I'll tell you, when I was watching that Jake Paul fight with Mike Tyson, which was a total work, and I knew that too. I'm so mad at myself that I didn't bet on the fight going all the way and all that stuff. Like everything, everybody already kind of knew. And then they were selling the knockout so hard right before the fight. I'm like, this shit's going the distance. But after the fight, Mike Tyson's like, maybe I'll fight your brother. And Logan Paul's like, oh, he'll fuck you up. And I'm like, this is so douchey. Like, this is, it gave me the biggest douche chills. Because I'm just like, who does this? He really thinks he's Mike Tyson level. And I'm not even talking about fighting. Just like, you think you can talk like this to Mike Tyson on TV?
Yeah, he thinks, I'm sure he thinks he could beat Mike Tyson if they were prime versus prime. No pun intended with the drink, of course. But if it was prime versus prime, he ain't beating Mike Tyson. I'm sorry. Mike Tyson's beating you in like 20 seconds, Logan. I don't care.
He's so obnoxious.
Yeah, I agree, dude. Jake's a little bit better. He's obnoxious too, but I think he's a little bit better than Logan at least.
Exactly. Like if you can make me, I think Jake Paul's a douche too. Like the tattoos, the hair, like everything is just so douche. And then you're cooler than your brother. Like, wow. How about that time, like a year or so ago, when Jake Paul's, fighting people in these boxing matches, and Jake Paul was not happy. He was not happy for his brother that he was winning and becoming a name himself in the business or what have you. And that also just added on to me going, I can't stand this guy. He doesn't even like his own brother.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, huge douchebags. They have a lot of professional animosity against each other, even over their endorsement deals. I fell down that rabbit hole for a bit, admittedly, watching their content and kind of getting an understanding of where their mindset was out. And I really want to know how they really built their fortunes and their empires. And I figured that out, and then I kind of faded away from watching their stuff. But they've had professional animosity for a long time, and they probably always will.
Well. Jake's going to be in the WWE too, possibly, and if so, that I can't see Logan being too happy with that. Now he's encroaching on his stuff, Yeah,
the Netflix deal, it just makes sense. Netflix has a deal with him too for boxing, so.
Oh, that's true, yeah. And then one thing more about John Cena here. The one thing I need out of John Cena this year, I wasn't thinking about this both like when I first heard the news, but Ric Flair, you got to live long enough this year, bro, because you got to see John Cena beat your record. Woo! I would love it. I would love to see you go online and cry about it and go, my daughter's supposed to do it. And this is all fake. And he's going to throw a hissy fit if John Cena wins a title and beats his record this year. And that's the only reason I want John Cena to win the title. Other than that, make any story or what you will, WWE, I'm sure it will be good now that you're making sense these days. But Ric Flair, get out of our lives. You don't have to like RIP and all that. And it'll be very sad when that happens. But
you're not God or my father or my boss.
Exactly what the Bagel Boss said. So
I think they just announced today. I saw that Ric Flair is going to be on Raw soon or on SmackDown soon. They're going to do a Royal Rumble tribute of some sort where they're going to bring back the past winners. And you would assume if they're bringing back everybody, they're definitely not bringing back everybody, but some of the past winners. They said Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Ric Flair would be on the show. But yeah, I agree with you. I hope Cena breaks the record. But Flair's already going on about it. He's already saying, "Oh, the real number's 21, the real number's 27, the real number's 23," because of all these other world titles he's had that nobody cares about. You know, because I'm sure he's had. If you think about the way wrestling really is, brother, if you really want to go back and deep dive at all these title changes and stuff and really be exact on it, I'm sure he's got just an unlimited amount, because at house shows you trade the title back and forth and all this stuff. In Japan, you'll drop it to one guy and then you'll win it back from him and they don't recognize it. So, you know, whatever, who cares? But it's recognized as 16, you know, so 16 is what it is. And let's get 17 on John Cena somehow. What do you think it's going to be, though? If he does it, it's going to be the big belt, Cody's belt, or is it going to be the world heavyweight belt?
I would let it be the big belt, because I don't see Roman Reigns going for that anytime soon. He doesn't need it. He had it for 4 years, people. Like, that's a long time to hold that belt. And then now that he's giving it up, he's the tribal chief. I think that's enough. You're the tribal chief. You can have your storylines, almost literal storylines, compared to the rest of the matches and the rest of the card. Like the way the bloodline and Roman Reigns himself is set up, it's like a whole nother offshoot of WWE at this point. And they may start bringing in other mid-card storylines and this and that, which I hope they do, and try to make them more long-term, like the storyline, because people are getting sick of the bloodline storyline. But you know what? This is how seasonal TV goes. You don't just bang out stories like Vince McMahon used to do, and then you forget about anything that's happened the past couple of months. This is so much better, so much more concise and clear, and they're giving you, everybody's getting the message. People can get hurt. It doesn't matter. They fill in the spots. So Roman Reigns, you go do all that. But as far as John Cena taking the belts, I don't need him taking the working man's belt, the Gunther belt. Who lost to Cody Rhodes? So they've already told everybody Cody Rhodes' belt is the top belt. If you didn't know, kids, right? He beat Gunther, who is damn near unbeatable, but you know, losing to Sammy and losing to Cody in 1 year, even though they're big guys themselves, it was not great for Dr. Huge's business, you know, because I love Gunther, and I think that whole thing is realer wrestling than the Cody Reigns. Yeah, you might as well. Cody Reigns stuff.
Yeah.
And, John Cena, go take that Cody belt.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I think you're probably right, absolutely. But like, Roman Reigns, you know, it wouldn't shock me if he's off TV again for a little bit, but with Netflix, now he's on Raw. So I think he's a Raw wrestler now. So there's some fresh matchups there. Maybe he goes after Gunther. Maybe somehow they like cross paths at some point. But also you got to think Drew McIntyre's got to be next, right? Maybe that's the angle. And CM Punk is also is owed a favor from Roman Reigns as well. So we have to kind of remember that's coming. So it's interesting to see what they do with the world titles and with John Cena specifically. I think there's a lot of, and him too, like, he's got to go after that WWE championship, but I wouldn't be shocked if he does come face to face with Gunther at some point, right? Maybe even after Gunther drops the belt, you got to kind of make that match, and maybe even give Cena the win. Maybe that's a big win for Cena on this tour, is him beating Gunther. As you said, Gunther's already lost to Cody, already lost to Sammy. So if he loses to Cena at this point, what's the difference, right? So that would be a good marquee win for Cena on this tour, and I think he's going to get a lot of them. I think we'll see him win a lot of matches.
Yeah, definitely be better than Gunther losing to Goldberg this year.
Oh, dude, that match is probably going to happen though, bro. But Gunther, I guess, would win. I guess, right? I don't know.
How crazy would it be if Gunther squashed? Either way, if Goldberg squashed Gunther or Gunther squashed Goldberg, that would just be something. Of course, it won't happen. I don't think you were going to get a nice little 4-minute, 5-minute max match, and Gunther's going to try to carry his corpse through it, I guess.
Yeah, you just got to choke him. You catch him in that choke, that rear naked choke Gunther does, and that's all you really have to do to beat Goldberg, which would be cool. But I mean, Goldberg, I thought would just go away after that cool match he had with Bobby Lashley. They had like a decent match at one of the Saudi Arabia shows, I think it was, or something. Yeah, they had like a decent one, I thought it was. But yeah, he's got to go. And having one more, Vince, I guess, had promised Goldberg one more match as the story. And now Triple H wants to capitalize on that. So if this is it, this is it. It's good riddance. See you later, dude. Nice knowing you, you know?
And I need your thoughts on Cope, of course. This name, this wrestler, as formerly known as Edge on AEW. I watched a little bit of Dynamite last night. I can't keep up with this stuff. What's your take on AEW in general, and especially Cope, the older wrestlers that are there?
Yeah, I've watched AEW since the inception. I've watched it all. I've been to a couple shows, and it's definitely a shell of what it once was. But I think a part of that is just natural progression of the company. I think it was inevitably going to happen since they've made so many blunders, and that sometimes happens in growing businesses. It's definitely not profitable. I don't care what they say. It can't be profitable. Maybe somehow it is with this new TV deal, but it just doesn't make sense to me on paper how it would be. So overall, AEW seems to be mismanaged in a lot of ways. I do really appreciate the effort the wrestlers put on. I don't think a lot of this is their fault. I do really think they put on a great effort. As far as Adam Copeland's concerned, we're seeing a midlife crisis at work here, similar to what we saw with Chris Jericho recently. Some of the crazy stuff Chris Jericho was doing with Nick Gage and all these stupid matches with Tomohiro Ishii where they chop each other 75 times each. And just, Adam Copeland's going through that. Cope, he changed his name to Cope, which is so bad. I made the joke that I think he should do bad dad jokes using the word cope. You're going to have to cope with me at Wrestle Revolution, brother, stuff like that. Look, he's going through some kind of midlife end of the career crisis here. Getting all of those creative juices out, the hardcore matches, jumping off the cage, all the crazy stuff he's done. Good for him, right? Get the bag, have fun creatively. This is what I said when he went there. Go have fun, dude. I'm not necessarily a fan of what they're doing right now, bro. To be honest, I watched the shows. I try to like it. I do like some of the wrestlers there. I really liked when CM Punk was there. I'd watch for him. Really liked when Bryan Danielson was there. Would watch for him. I watched for Mercedes Moné, as you probably might remember. I've always been a big fan and advocate for her. I think she's tremendous. She's doing a lot better work in the past few months than she did in the whole rest of the year in 2024. So props to her for that. But the show has really taken a dive, and Adam Copeland's one of the people that we have to blame for it because he was on the show for so long, building to something. Then he jumps off the cage, like so many of these guys on the show have done, to get injured in a very haphazard, stupid way that's detrimental to the company. And I could really talk about AEW for freaking hours, bro, because the problems with the company are so complex, and we don't know specifically what they are because of all the NDAs. So it's hard from an outsider's perspective to really put your finger on exactly what's wrong, but it all starts with Tony Khan. It all ends with Tony Khan. So I think that's the problem right there.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of it, of course, outside looking in, looks like it's just addition by subtraction. Like they can just go to smaller venues. I mean, be it NXT style small. I'm not talking even because they go, whoa, we're scaling down, but you're scaling down to large arenas still. So and you're not filling those. So get into, become NWA if you need to in some areas. So it's like a local band going out to tour so everybody can know about you. The people don't know about you like that, at least live. And then on TV, you're competing with WWE. There's 1,000 hours of wrestling out here already. So that's going to be a task in itself. So having less wrestlers, less this, less that, smaller venues, scale it down, and then the hardcore fans will then build it up. And the casuals will start to take notice because the shows will be packed. The talent will be super over because there's compared to what they have now, I would literally kick out half them dudes. Yeah. They don't need to be there. There's too many. I don't know what's going on week to week. Ed, you got older wrestlers coming out with younger wrestlers I've never heard of. Edge has a bird's nest hairdo these days. It's driving me crazy. Jericho's same thing with that new stitched in hair and things. I get it. You look like Vince Neil. I love Jericho's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Same,
my favorite wrestler over Shawn Michaels after he blocked me here.
I love Chris Jericho too. He's another reason why I watch the show often is, his work isn't as great anymore, but he just recently did these very entertaining bits in New York City as the ROH champion, the King of New York stuff I thought was really good. But I do watch it and I like parts of the show, but overall it just feels like, and I've said this for many, many years now, it feels like a fever dream sometimes. Like after you're done, you're just overloaded with sensory, like your senses are just maxed out. You're like, what did I just watch? And at a certain point when you watch these pay-per-views specifically, like, I watched the last one, World's End, and there's nothing you could do to follow Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher to start the show. They did everything you could possibly do in a wrestling match in the first match of the show. And then a few matches later, you're having all these great match after match after match, and you're having like Mariah May have a street fight match with Thunder Rosa, and they're doing craziness, and it's just like you're doing way too much on every single show. You're shooting fireballs at people and all kinds of chaos. You've done too much. You've overloaded your fans. You've gone too far. It's just enough is enough at a certain point. What they're doing with Jon Moxley, the Death Rider stuff, is not helping the show on a week-to-week basis.
What's the main problem with that, you think? Because I've been keeping up with, at least the main event stuff going on there, and I've noticed Moxley's involved all the time. He had the Rock and Roll Express duct tape this past week. That was to what? Piss off Edge and the good guy?
An FTR, yeah. Rated FTR, they're called now. And there was a trios match between them against the Learning Tree, which is Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith, the Bad Apple. And they were having the match, and then this came on the big screen, of course. They're tied up. Like, what was Jon Moxley going to do to them? Was he going to torture them? Did he have a soldering iron there? Like, what's he gonna do? Like, and then they came in there and ran them off, and then they like freed the Rock and Roll Express. But like, so here's the main problem with it. Okay, the main problem with the storyline is you don't know why it's a storyline. There's not a full understanding of why any of this is actually happening, and it makes me laugh because it's true. It's true. There's no real specific reason. There's no crescendo. There's no end. There's no end in sight to it. It's just Jon Moxley has said a lot of these kind of subliminal, hyperbolic statements week after week after week that just don't make a lot of sense. Do you remember when Bray Wyatt was kind of just treading water at a certain time of his career, and he'd have these promos every week on Raw, and they just would make no sense, and it would go absolutely nowhere? That's kind of what's happening here. It's almost evident that he's got creative control over the storyline, Jon Moxley I'm talking about, and it's just going absolutely nowhere, dude. So now he's in a feud with Cope, and we'll see where that goes.
Damn it, Dean Ambrose. They gave you the steering wheel, and you're driving us off a cliff over here with AEW. It looks like, because I've been keeping up lately the past month. Like I said, I kind of don't know what's going on, and I should know what's going on. I watched it.
They had this whole Continental Classic tournament, which I tried to keep up with and because I watched the first year they had it, and it's got this really crazy point system with all these different scenarios at the end, and everyone's got a specific route to get in, and it's kind of like the NHL, not the NHL, like, or any actual sports playoffs, right, where all the teams have a possibility to get in if specific situation happens.
Right.
So that's what was going on at the end of it, but there were so many different ones that it would confuse anyone, not even wrestling fans. It was crazy.
I've heard Cornette talk about the what could happen, like you said, like the NFL playoffs. This can happen if this one wins, but if this one can get this many points, then this will happen. And
Tony Schiavone was saying it on the show. Tony Schiavone and Excalibur on a week-to-week basis were explaining this to you. And meanwhile, they're also rattling off all the matches that are going to be on next week's episode, and the next episode of Collision, and the next episode of Rampage, and all the different wrestlers that are going to be involved. Let me tell you real quick. A couple weeks ago on Dynamite, I'm watching it from the beginning, and they had a really unique open, but you saw probably 10 wrestlers in the first 2 minutes of the show, dude. You saw 10 different wrestlers cut, and they're all saying something. They're all throwing something at you. And as a fan, you're like, and me as a seasoned wrestling fan, I get it. But if you're not as seasoned to it, you're like, what is going on here? I don't understand what the hell's going on. I'm never turning this on again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something I would see as hard as to grow your fan base with jumping around as much as they do. Because some of their champions, it's like, you got to really put these people over. The WWE, just follow that. They're the best in the business. They've been doing it forever. They got it down to a science. Look at what they do and do that. And in my opinion, WWE has too many wrestlers. Like, if you think about it, you got Bronson Reed's out, Ilya Dragunov's out, AJ Styles out, Charlotte's been out. You can go on and on with all their injuries and people that have been off screen for a while, and they still have too many wrestlers. There's not enough time. We need more 3-hour shows and this, that. Cut your roster in half. Like,
yeah,
what's the point of holding on to all these people? And I don't want like all these people to get fired or whatever, but it's kind of just like, maybe build another promotion somewhere else with everybody from AEW and WWE that is just not on TV.
Yeah, I think you're onto something when you say that, bro. Honestly, I think when you just said that, I think you're onto something, dude. I think that's probably what the future is going to hold, is actually a fourth promotion for the company. And they did have it, right, with NXT UK. They had that for a while. And I think you're going to see something again. You're going to see some kind of international promotion pop up. Not sure how they're going to do it, if it's going to be in Japan or if it's going to be some just random international thing in Europe somewhere. But I think that's in the cards, bro. So I think you're onto something when you say
they're all going to Japan now. Anna Jay is going to Japan. Omos is, like I said, everybody that's on green and they love and they want to keep in the business because, Anna Jay is just amazing to look at. So please keep her around AEW. But, and then everybody's going to Japan lately is my point. The guy from NXT, I don't even know his name. He's in that No Quarter Catch crew. The dude with
Charlie Dempsey? Charlie Dempsey?
No,
right?
the one with the afro.
Oh.
The new guy that replaced the wrestling guy that was there recently. Like I said, there's too many guys, but they're sending them all to Japan, and they're making a big deal out of it on NXT. Like, he just came back from Japan, and it's doing something for these guys. I guess giving them that just that in-ring experience in front of cameras, maybe.
Yeah, motivation too, and the experience to like, oh well, this is what it's like. You go out to Japan, you get treated like a king. You go out to Rivera Steakhouse, you get treated like a king. Whatever. Like this is it. That's what Omos was saying when he was on screen. Like when he had the belt in Japan, he was like, "I understand now. I get it now. I understand." And that, I think he's telling the truth. Like he gets it. He understands why a guy like him is going to go over to Japan and get over for the rest of his life if he wants to.
And you got time? You want to go extra innings here?
Whatever you want to do, man. I'm chilling.
All right. Well, I got some more notes to talk about here. Like this Kenny Omega, he's back, and he gave a spiel on, his diverticulitis and his illness. And then the other night I'm watching, I think, Raw on Netflix, and they showed X-Pac in the crowd, and I think he had diverticulitis too. So when I heard that, then I'm just like, me being a doctor, I know what diverticulitis is, of course. Brock Lesnar also had it. So I looked up steroids, diverticulitis, and you know what? There is a correlation.
Interesting.
Just saying. So, and Kenny Omega doesn't look like the type of guy that should be like muscular. If I don't know how that makes sense. He just doesn't look like he should be as muscular as he is or was. So. Yeah.
When it happened, he blamed it on a drink that he had from Panera Bread or something like that. He got some kind of mango sweet tea or something. If I'm not mistaken, I could have just butchered it, but that's what I remember from the story initially, is that this was one of the reasons why he ended up having diverticulitis, some kind of poison. And as if people don't know, it's like a hole in your intestine that kind of pops up for whatever reason, and basically poisons your body slowly over time, depending on the size of the hole. And according to Omega, when he cut this promo last night, he was talking about how he was very much on the brink of death. Like he was starting to get poisoned very quickly. He was very sick, didn't realize how sick he was for a while. And if he didn't get to the emergency room ASAP, he probably would have lost his life at a certain point. So he was very lucky, according to his doctor. I don't know. I have no reason to not believe the guy, but it is a wrestling promo, so I don't know how much of hyperbole it was. But yeah, I do believe it's very serious condition. X-Pac was serious too.
Yep. I know people that have had it before in my personal life. Like Brock Lesnar got that surgery and then fought in the UFC, right?
Yeah.
He's nuts.
Yeah, crazy.
So, yep, Kenny Omega's back. Of course, I'm not the biggest Kenny Omega fan or anything, but, I don't want to see the guy die or anything.
So. No, dude, I don't, again, I'm not either, but there were times of his career where I really liked his work. I thought he was really, really great at certain times, especially early in his career when I'd watch him at Ring of Honor shows live or local indie shows in high school gyms. I watched him super early in his career, and it was always awesome to watch him because he was so good in the ring. He was just doing stuff in there that nobody else was doing at the time, and was so crisp and clean with everything, even when he was the opening match and he wasn't in any kind of main event or anything like that. So yeah, he's kind of a goofball for sure. He's a weird cat, and his wrestling now is just a little bit too over the top sometimes. But dude, when he can go, dude, he had that match just this past weekend with Gabe Kidd at New Japan. That was crazy. I don't know if you saw that, but I watched that match. What a hard hitting, great match. Like he's definitely fully back into his old form, but he is slightly different. Like he mentioned that promo that he has to change his style, and it looks like he has a little bit.
Yeah, you can't be jumping around as much when you pulled out all your guts.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a more hard hitting style now. Yeah.
How about this big Steph story? Stephanie McMahon, that's my nickname for her anyway. And she might return. It's a possibility. Triple H is out here. I hope she returns. I would love for there to be some kind of authority business going on backstage. Doesn't even have to be like that hardcore into like, where they're just heels backstage and all this. But, Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis are doing a good job. They need one of them. Have one of them on one of these shows be a bad guy and have the other one, GM, be a good guy. Instead of them both just being corporate guys. It gets a little lazy. The only thing that I can tell that's a difference between the two is Nick Aldis stops fights before they happen backstage, and Adam Pearce doesn't. He shows up at the very end. So, I mean, let's shake it up. And I think Stephanie McMahon would be best. Like, she could almost oversee both TV shows and both managers. Just an idea, WWE.
Yeah, very good idea. I think that idea is awesome, dude. Again, I was at WrestleMania, and when she came out to open WrestleMania, I believe it was night 2, I think, if I recall. Maybe it was night 1. I can't remember. But it was awesome, man. We went crazy. We were like, oh, this is amazing. It's always great to see her, dude. I love her. She's awesome. And she's the one who said many years ago that philanthropy is the marketing of the future for WWE. And boy, was she right. They really built a business on that.
Yep, she's killing it. She's doing it. We got Rollins. Here's some Rollins news. He was supposed to be in that new Captain America movie, and now he's not.
No, I'm not surprised.
Cut him right out.
Yeah.
You don't think he's movie star material, this guy?
Bro, I have no idea. No clue, bro. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how you make that decision. Who to cut, who didn't. Maybe you needed just another couple extra seconds. Like, how much could he have been in the movie, right? One scene, Who knows?
Yeah, he was probably just like a henchman that showed up and said like a line.
I think he still gets to put that on his movie credits, though, if I'm not mistaken, right? Even though he did.
You should be able to. I would think.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yep. And then Malachi Black could be done with AEW. He wants out. Apparently, that's the word.
Yeah, I posted about this, bro. So backstage, they're saying that it feels like he's gone. He had this match with Adam Cole a couple weeks ago, and he kind of said goodbye. And also they did a promo last night where Will Ospreay was talking to Buddy Matthews and telling him, like, you're so much better than what you're doing as a tag wrestler, mate. You should be a singles guy. I got your back and all this stuff. So I think he's gone personally, but there are people that are saying it's a fake news story. Have you heard anything specifically about this?
I heard the same thing you did, and same thing with last night and Dynamite, and putting Brody too over with Buddy Murphy, being like, you guys don't need that whole gang and everything that you're doing. So yeah, I mean, it would make all the sense in the world for him to go back to Triple H. He's a Triple H guy, and Selena Vega is there. That's his wife, right? So
yeah, and there's stuff for him to do. There's dark characters there, Karrion Kross. There's the Wyatt Six. There's all this darkness there anyway. So Rhea Ripley,
Kross. I wish they would put them on TV more. I think that's really what they need if they're going to like actually get over is just they need more time. I don't think the social media and all that is enough for the fans to be like, we're into this, because it seems like a lot of people are already done with the Wyatt Six. A lot of people are coming around to the final testament here, but they're still kind of like, we don't like Karrion Kross. That's how I've seen it out here, at least on the,
they should get rid of they should replace Paul Ellering with Hulk Hogan, bro. See how that works.
There you go again. We'll replace him in all. He can work for both. Why not?
Yeah.
He comes out every segment with somebody, just all the bad guys.
Yeah, he brings his let me tell you something, brother promo to the Final Testament. That'd be hilarious. Oh, that'd be so funny.
Or I got Hogan around here somewhere. We got to change up some of these scenes here. I haven't been doing a good job of this tonight. But for the audio crowd, you've been getting one of the greatest shows of your life. There he is, dancing.
Brother.
The brother, dude. Dream big again. We're doing it. We're making America great again. Did you hear on my show I announced breaking news that he was going to be the border czar?
No, bro, really?
He's going to leg drop everybody that tries to come in. He's going to have sex with all their wives. Going to call them the N-word.
I love it.
Send them right back. That's the plan.
I advocate for it. Let's go.
Border czar Hogan.
I did hear he might actually try to be the fitness administrator or something. Head the fitness program. That's crazy. Come on, man. Don't do anything. Just sell your beer, have fun, enjoy the rest of your life, bro. That's what I wish for Hulk Hogan. I think he's, whatever. I'm a Hulkamaniac, brother, through and through. I don't condone what he said though in that sex tape, illegally filmed, hidden camera in his friend's.
You don't condone cuckolding, right?
No, I don't condone that at all. No way.
And or getting filmed secretly. I'm telling you, Bubba did that on purpose.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, and he left it laying around in his desk. It's not like he protected it. He put it in his work desk and left it laying there for anybody to grab and throw into their CD player or whatever. Stupid.
Yeah. And his story, supposedly, he's like, I don't know what happened. I don't know who took the tape and whatever. But he had the tape in his office, and I think one of his guys is the rumor that were working there, like swooped it up and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
The rest he thought he was going to get paid off of it, but all he got was a big old headache.
Yeah, Gawker went out of business because of it too.
Yep, Malachi Black. I mean, I could talk more about AEW stuff, but it's not really that fun to talk about. One thing is,
go ahead.
I got MJF and Jeff Jarrett. That whole situation seems like something. Another older wrestler. He seems to be on his John Cena tour this year. He's like on his way out. That's how they're booking it, at least. And it looks like MJF will probably be one of his final matches in the company, and that would be pretty cool, I think, as a sending off, having MJF as one of your final matches.
Yeah, I think this is going to be similar to, and you might remember this. Did you watch a lot of ECW in the 90s?
Yeah, good amount.
Okay, so like you remember probably one of their most famous angles was Terry Funk doing like his run to the world title when they were going on the pay-per-view for the first time. There was like a match with Raven and Barely Legal, it was called, and he won the belt and it was boom. Bingo. Yeah. So Terry Funk's like, I think it's going to be similar to that, but with an AEW twist to it. I think he might win the belt, and then I think Christian might cash in whatever he's got the contract thing and take it from him real quick. So he has that moment. I could see it in my head, a bloody Jeff Jarrett somehow pulling off a win out of nowhere with help from whoever to get it done. Start celebrating. Christian cashes in. All of a sudden, Christian's now the champion. I think I can kind of see that happening, and it kind of goes full circle as well. As I'm not mistaken, I think Christian might have been the one to beat Jeff Jarrett for the Intercontinental Championship in the WWE, or one championship back in the 90s or something. I might be wrong about that, but I kind of remember. I don't know. It's interesting to me, dude, that they're doing something like this. I don't know if they're trying to counteract Cena or if it's just on the menu for them, something that's been in the works for a while. Interesting. Jeff Jarrett, full-blown singles run to the world title is going to be it's going to be fun how they pull that off. I'm not sure how it's going to pan out.
It's wild to me because, I like Jeff Jarrett. I never had a problem with him. But compared to like Edge and Jericho, I actually like him better than both of them at this point.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of them, man. But Jeff Jarrett just seems a little more fresh, right? Than Edge and Jericho doing their thing for so long so far in AEW and like primetime spots. Jarrett's been there, but he's been doing real low card, mid card stuff with guys of that caliber, and I'm surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. I shouldn't be surprised at all, actually, that they're putting him in the main event. But it just seems like it's a counteraction, and it's almost a continuation of what they've been doing with like Sting. They did the same exact thing, kind of with Sting, So I don't know. We'll see.
My favorite Jeff Jarrett bit was when he was in Mexico, super drunk, throwing tortillas into the crowd.
Oh my!
Love that bit. That was.
Dude, I remember that. Yeah. He had some dark years there, man. He had some trouble a little bit there, but good for him to.
If you're gonna have dark years, you might as well have them be funny, I guess. Like that. It's still funny to me.
Hell yeah, dude.
Throwing tortillas into it. You really thought that was a good idea? Even drunk, like I would be like, I don't know if this is a good idea.
At least he didn't hit them with guitars. I always remember when he hit Beetlejuice with the guitar on Nitro.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
God, you were a big Stern guy back in the day, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Can't listen to him anymore. Now you're Team MAGA.
Well, it's not even that, man. Like Howard Stern can still be funny and do his things. Like I appreciate his comedic, but he's also become really kind of like during COVID, for example, right? Like that was when I kind of opened up to Howard Stern being like, man, you're really scared of this, like terrified of it. I get it. A lot of people were. I was a little bit in the beginning myself, but he went a little too hardcore. He was saying like, screw people who think differently and don't get the shot and all that stuff. So that kind of opened my eyes to Howard a little bit, like what the hell is going on? But I'll always love and respect the stuff he did in the 90s and the early 2000s. That was some great stuff, great radio, real fun shit.
I think the 2000s to me are the golden age of just radio. the serious stuff especially. But even before then, when they like the Patriots Carolina Super Bowl happened where Janet pulled her titty out, and then they just started like censoring everybody, but especially Howard Stern. He was being censored like crazy. While I was listening live, they would just cut his show off, and I'd be like, wow, like this is some wild stuff. But yep. And then he went on Sirius, and I mean, go listen to it. It's all out there, pretty much, a lot of it.
Yeah, his stuff with Artie Lang, the whole Artie Lang era was crazy. There's a lot of great radio, great stuff, riveting stuff. They had a lot of drama on that show, like just unbelievable amount of drama. Beetlejuice was always one of my favorites because he was just so entertaining and funny.
Hopefully someday we can get close to replacing it in the wrestling world, so to speak. We got close the first time. We were getting there. We had whack Packers and everything. Holy wacky ass wrestling fans. But we're getting them back. They're starting to come back slowly but surely. But thank you for coming on tonight. No
problem, dude. My pleasure. Appreciate it.
We could go on for days, but we've said it all tonight. I'll definitely have you back on if you'd like to come back on. And do you have anything you want to plug to everybody?
Yeah, really just, hit the follow button if you like what I had to say tonight. If you'd like my takes, go ahead, follow me there. Facebook.com/PWP Nation is where I'm the most consistent, putting out the most content, and has the most comments and ways you can get involved in the conversation. So Facebook.com/PWP Nation, at PWP Nation on all social media platforms. And of course, myself, Jay Alletto, that's ALLETTO, brother.
Nice. Again, thank you for coming on. Great guest, great chat. King Reezy in the house, Philly Sports Pride. Shout out to everybody out there that's watching and is going to watch in the future. This will be on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, a bunch of different places online. So all the people in the future, shout out to you. Don't forget, we got a store on Teespring. We got the album out. Another album coming this year, maybe even 2. I already got 2 done. And we got all kinds of stuff happening. More shows. The expert wrestling panel on Saturday, 2 p.m. If you ever want to come on that sometime, Jay, you're welcome. With all the experts. And we talk to all the kids in the afternoon. But all right, that's it for us. Everybody have a good night, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Hello. This is Marty the Moth Martinez from Lucha Underground, and you are watching the Dr. Eugenstein podcast.